That's on. Sick. Cool. What's up, brother? Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm excited. Yeah. So you'll be able to hear yourself. It's weird. Just keep this semi within a. Oh shit.
My bad. My bad.
That happens with Kona so often.
Big wave.
Every time I buy Kona, I don't know what it is.
My bad, dog. You should have snorted it up.
Yeah, it's in bony, bitch. That happens with all the bottles I buy too.
Really?
I don't get it.
I'd never buy Kona, but Kona is like by far my favorite beer.
It's up there for me. It's so good. You can just toss that.
It's gonna be a mindfuck listening to myself. I hate my voice,
Dude, it took me a while to get over
I
it.
hate it, dude.
Yeah, and it's weird talking and actively hearing it back.
Yeah, it's strange. It's a strange relay.
It took me a while to get used to it, but
Damn, dude.
yeah.
Cheers, then.
Yes, absolutely, man. Cheers. Let's
Thank
see
you
if
guys
this
for
one
having me.
does it.
Dude, it's so sweet that you're doing
Cheers.
this.
Thank you.
I truly love it.
Appreciate it. Thank you. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm pumped to get you in here. There's a few. Obviously, I'm excited to have everyone in here.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited to get you in here. You're one of the most interesting people I've ever met, dude.
I appreciate it. And like truly, just like the theme of it, Jack of all trades, like
Yep.
it's
I wanna talk
one
to
of my
everybody,
favorite
bro.
things ever. That
Thank
you're
you.
doing. I'm truly so excited.
Thank you. Well, that's what everyone's like. You got to find the one fucking thing.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, I don't have that
You
one
don't-
fucking
you
thing,
have to find the one.
and I get so bored of talking about one
right,
thing.
dude. You don't have to do that at all.
And like everyone, they'd be like, because I do real estate, like you should do a real estate podcast. I'm like, that is the last thing.
that really is.
I
the
do that all
No
day. I don't want to
offense.
keep doing it. No way, bro.
Dude, there are like nursing podcasts. I've never listened to one or given one any cheers, brother. Any thought, but it's like, man, I don't want to do that shit.
No way. Dude.
I'll talk about nursing gladly, but it's just like to spend another X amount of hours like completely to that. I'm just good.
That's why like you go to happy hour and people are like, let's fucking not talk about work.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, exactly.
Anything but it. Anything but it.
But I appreciate that. That's kind of like, because like if I were to do real estate or just a nursing podcast, whatever, you would attract those people, and I love that, etc. But whatever. But like, I don't only hang out with real estate people.
Right. Exactly.
I personally don't even only listen to real estate podcasts.
Yeah.
Like I don't even do that myself. Why would I narrow myself into that hole?
Right. Exactly. How long has this been? Like, when was the idea, and when did you go like, all right, we're doing this?
Shit. The idea. So I've been doing it since 21. I'm not consistent at all. This will probably, what does that say? Kellen. He didn't say the episode. This will be like episode 22 or 3 probably. So I've been doing it for 3 years. I was hoping to do like, I was hoping to average at least one a month when I started it.
Yeah.
And I was way over ambitious. And like year one, I was like, I'm going to do 52 this year. I was like, eat sacks, dude.
I feel like just getting bodies for that is
That's the thing. So like with podcasts, I listen to a lot of them.
Right.
I love them. I hate Zoom. Can't stand it.
It's really terrible.
Yeah, I can't stand it. And like, let alone if it's like supposed to be a really good guest or conversation, as soon as I can tell that it's on Zoom and there's like the hiccup or they start talking over each other and they can't tell they're talking over each other, it drives me batshit insane.
Even like the sound, I can't stand it.
And that's why it makes it hard. There's a lot of reasons I can't be consistent, but one of them is because like I'm not doing it solo.
Right.
And I'm not doing them Zoom.
Yeah.
So I have to align my schedule with your schedule.
Right.
And I have to find enough bodies to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing it in the fucking dungeon in my basement.
Yeah.
And there's like, there's like certain adults I want to have in here. But like, I'm not going to have them in my basement.
Right.
So like, I'm like kind of fighting that one too. Where'd it come from? I don't know. Honestly, working on the farm with Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like had a lot of alone time with each other. We were just fucking during COVID when we worked there together at the Sellers farm.
I forget. David, I'll never forget when Davis told me about this experience. We were on a crazy hike. Ask Davis next time you see him, ask him about our Big Bear, I think Bear Peak hike. One of the most horrible experiences of our life.
What was it?
We went on this hike, and it was like it wasn't a 14er, but I think it was like 13 something elevation.
I think
gain.
I've heard this story.
And I just got off a 12-hour shift and picked Davis up. I think Davis was like miserably hungover, and we had like planned it. And I got a good tip in life: never hike in brand new boots.
Oh yeah,
don't do that.
You bought them that day or something?
I had gotten them like shipped in, and then like that was the first time.
Oh Jesus Christ! Yeah, I could have told you
we
that one.
did this hike, dude. I think it took like 10 hours.
Jesus,
and it was just it was insane.
My God,
we did it though. But he was telling me about that experience. That sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm. That was fun. I actually think it was why I got the job I have now.
Yeah.
But yeah, during that sounds miserable because your feet were probably just toast to shit. I get blisters from like walking like 5 miles, let alone a 10-mile hike.
There were so many times where I was like, just quit, just stop.
Go home. Just go home. Just go home.
The last half of the hike, Davis and I were just mute. Just literally didn't say a word.
Both of you just pissed off.
So pissed off.
Oh my God.
It was so great, dude. It was awesome. It was awesome. That's it's sweet, dude. I'm glad. Like I briefly had this idea in college with my roommate, one of my roommates in college.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to like make it like a Western thing and like pass it down to someone.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But it's just, it's just one of those things.
Classic. Yeah, it's like, here's an idea. Yeah,
here's an idea. Like,
remember when we talked about that one time?
Yeah, right. We actually recorded one and then never again. Never again.
Been there.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to do it. I don't know. Me and David just have these conversations, and then like listening to them, I was like, man, that'd be cool. I tried to start a YouTube channel, a cooking YouTube channel.
Really?
Filmed one video. Hated the process.
Right.
Hated everything about it. I was like, okay, this is definitely not for me. But I knew like the whole, like Kellen asked me about like the whole creative aspect, like working your creative side of your mind.
Right.
And this definitely like tickles that a little bit.
Yeah.
And I knew I always wanted to do something like it. I don't know. And then when I got my new job, like hit a lick and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to send it.
Yeah.
My old new job.
Yeah.
Bought all this shit. Because I was looking into it and like they were like, you can do it off your phone. You can like, plug in some AirPods. And I was like, if I'm going to do it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And so then, but then it's buying everything. I was like, okay, I have to fucking do this. Yeah. I'm not gonna spend all this money and then not have people in here.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was probably almost 3 years ago to the day.
Wow.
Yeah, it was November of 21. So somewhere around here.
3-year anniversary.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm glad to be here for it.
Yeah, thanks for being in here. And I have everyone sign the table. So like, I gotta find the Sharpie. But it sucks. I wish that was something I thought through. So like I can see this name and I can see that name. This name's gone. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. That's Kellen. There's Dave. And like Veerlings was over here somewhere. And like because of this, like it's just rubbed. Oh, here's Matt.
Completely rubbed off.
And it's like halfway rubbed off.
Damn.
But yeah, fuck me. Let's get into you. A lot of reasons why I wanted to have you in here. But so you're a traveling nurse, traveling ICU nurse. Yeah. You've been, 5-6 cities now?
New Orleans, Denver, Madison, San Fran, I guess, and then now San Diego. Going to San Diego.
That's the one that you're just about to start.
Yeah.
And you're an amateur MMA fighter.
Yes, sir.
Which contradict each other very highly.
Very much so. Very much so.
And you're also a former D1 athlete.
Yes, former.
So I want to get into all of that.
Yeah.
I don't really know where to start. We'll start from the beginning. So,
Western Illinois.
Western Illinois
University.
Did you do nursing there?
Yes. So when I got there, I was pre-med for the first 3 years.
Oh, no shit.
Yes.
Okay.
Reality set in.
Yeah, had that too.
Realize chemistry is real hard.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Chemistry is real hard. Also, like the reality of going like pre-med and graduating with like biological sciences or however you get it, graduating from that, getting into med school is really difficult. Mm-hmm. Paying for med school is even more difficult. Yeah. And like I knew I wanted to work in a hospital, but I didn't want to do anything else. So like year 3, I was doing well in school. Chemistry was definitely a big killer of mine, but my teammate was the first football player in the nursing program there.
Oh, interesting.
So we had a nursing program, and he was telling me about like a flu shot clinic that he did, like his first semester of nursing school. Excuse me. And he, he was telling me the story on a trip one time, and I was like, I want to give people flu shots. What the hell? Like, I'm sitting in chem lab,
class.
mixing baking soda with shit. Like, I don't want to do this shit. So I switched over, literally that next semester
from pre-med to nursing.
Yeah, from pre-med to nursing. So I had like all my prerequisites done.
Simple transition.
Yeah, easy transition, and it was a 2 year program. So I had my 5th year coming anyway because I redshirted. So it worked out perfectly. Got nursing school paid for, and like, that was pretty much it.
Oh, that's money. I didn't even think about that because you're there no matter what.
Right, exactly.
Wow,
exactly.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, truly, praise God, man, it worked out.
Jeez,
so
good for you.
So nicely.
So rewinding, you always wanted to be in the hospital. Why?
I don't
back
know.
in high school?
I think, I was also, so in high school, were you in our anatomy class by any chance? No.
I don't think so.
Me and Dom Dolan and we had anatomy with, who's the teacher? Anyway, I was just always infatuated by the human body. It's the most like insane thing to learn about. And to me, it's truly one of the main subjects that like truly interests me. So once I got into college, I kind of just knew, like, I don't know. I just always had like I don't want to sit in an office.
Sure.
I don't want to have meetings.
Feel that.
I don't want to send an email. I don't want to do anything that is related to like corporate anything. I hated that. I never wanted to do that. And like my mom worked in an allergy lab like all her life, dealing with flu shots and like all this stuff, doing like patient care. And then like my dad was a bricklayer, so he was a tradesman. So they had like jobs that were very hands-on,
right?
Of like actually doing things as opposed to like, work emails and all that whole thing. So I was just very much anti-corporate America. Also,
that makes sense.
Yeah. Also, I'm just,
you need that.
Yeah. Can you see me? Jack, you've known me for a long time.
I'm not going to say it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't do well with like any of that stuff.
That's fair.
So once,
know yourself. It helps out so much if you know yourself.
It really does. So once I was doing pre-med and the reality kind of set in, and like, I was like, I don't want to graduate with a biology degree and like chemistry degree and all this. And then because I didn't want to, exactly. Because I didn't want to do research. Like the research really doesn't interest me. Like I didn't want to do like working in a lab somewhere. I just wanted to work with humans and like take care of sick people. I knew that kind of came more into college. Like I said, like once I was doing the labs and stuff, it was all interesting. Like I liked it, but it was like I just
you're able to narrow it down.
Care of sick people. Like I don't really.
So never PT, PA, none of that.
No.
It's really that surprises me.
Yeah.
So do you think that your interest in the human anatomy, like going back for however, do you think that like sparked something one way or the other with like you taking care of yourself and working out?
Yeah, for sure. I think
it's like if you got a knack for that at 14, one way or the other is going to help you.
I was really lucky, like especially in high school and stuff, to have trainers early on in my like athletic career who were really knowledgeable about the nervous system and like all these different systems who would train me and say, this is why we're not wearing shoes during training. Like this is why we barefoot train. And explain it that in an anatomical way, as opposed to just like saying things and like, this is why we're doing Olympic lifts on this day and then having X amount of days off because your central nervous system can only do something. So I think because I was introduced to it, I probably had like an affinity to it. And then once I got into college and really started learning about like all the different systems,
you're piecing it all together.
I started piecing it together. And I was like, oh my, like knowledge is power. And like when you have the knowledge of the human anatomy and like everything that's going on, you can really like have almost no limit of doing whatever you want, you know? Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's really crazy. One semester I was taking my second semester of anatomy, neurobiology, chemistry, physics, and something else all in one semester.
Jesus.
And like,
Jesus,
dude,
like hell.
it was actually amazing. It was
Yeah, for you,
best semester in college, which was nuts. And like I remember one day, like being like stoned in my neurobiology class, and it just like all clicking, and being like, holy shit, this all makes sense now.
Like fucking
Like
Rain Man with
yes,
everything
exactly.
going in
And
front
I
of
was
your
like,
head.
oh. And I remember being like, we can so upload our consciousness onto the cloud.
We can do this. We can do this.
And I started looking into it. I was like, people are so far ahead of me on this.
That was your first original idea.
Yeah, so that was my first, what I thought was an original idea. And then, nope, turns out people are way ahead of me on that.
Hey, they're working on it for you. You'll be able to work with it at some point.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, it was just, I think I was into it early. And then with college, I was just like, had the classes. And then it was just like, I really don't want to do anything other than just taking care of.
Good, dude. That's awesome to be able to find it. It takes some people,
dude, really,
whether, like I know so many people that did the college route, did not do the college route, whatever, that feel the same way about wanting to like physically do something.
Right.
Whether it's trades, I get it with nursing. What else? Like, I don't know, like I know the guy that's a firefighter.
Yeah.
Like anything like that, and everyone says it. But very few are actually like, nope, I'm literally not doing that.
Right.
I cannot do that. And it's the death of some people. Like it really is.
It really is. It really is. And also the fact of the reality is like, I have a job that no matter what, someone's going to need me.
Yeah,
If society itself collapses and we go into like some whatever where nothing matters anymore, economy collapse, people are always going to be sick, and people are always going to need someone to take care of sick people. So like, I'm cool.
Good.
I'm good to go.
So it was always nursing. When and how did you hear about traveling nursing?
Travel nursing. That's funny, actually. So I started in.
To me, that sounds like duh.
Right. Of course.
Duh.
I didn't know about it until I was. So when I graduated, I got a job at Barnes in the neuro ICU right after college. And so when I graduated, it was summer of 2020, which was peak of COVID.
Oh, fuck me.
So I came out of school fresh.
Right into it.
Sent right into an ICU, which is crazy in itself. But also during the middle of the peak of a pandemic.
Right.
So when I started, it was just after. Yeah, dude, it was crazy. So when I started, it had been a couple months. So like our school got shut down pretty much for the last 3 months. But by the time I started, it had just passed the point where we were at least like, okay, we don't have to be wearing hazmat suits the whole time. Like people, it had calmed down a little bit, but it was still crazy, and it was still killing.
You forget we didn't know.
People. No, that was the scariest part.
We
had no idea what was going on, what it was, how it transmitted, who it affected, how it affected you. It was just all these people are dying at a crazy rate. All these hospitals are overflowing, and like it was nuts. So I started there, worked at Barnes for about a little less than 2 years. Around, I would say, a little over a year, I had started kind of conversing more with the travelers who worked on my unit. And Barnes had a contract with this company, Aya, who I now work for, that Barnes will only take Aya travelers.
Okay.
And at the time, during COVID, they were making crazy.
Dude, I heard.
Bro, one of these travelers had shown me her money. They were getting paid $7,000 a week.
A week?
A week in St. Louis, Missouri.
Fuck me.
Bro, what?
I mean, I heard.
Bro, what?
That's nuts.
So I've been broke literally my whole life.
Panned out. That's $350. God damn.
Bro.
You see that, dude. You're like,
Bro.
I will sell the trap.
Yes, dude. So I've been broke my whole life. And like when I started, I was making like $21 an hour, getting like probably like $1,900, $2,000 every 2 weeks.
What is it, like $300 an hour or something like that?
Yeah, dude. And I remember getting like my first paycheck. I was like, I'm rich.
Yeah,
like,
seriously.
What the hell?
Same.
I was like,
Same.
hell yeah. And I saw that money. I was like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? Like
to come to St. Louis, Missouri?
Yeah,
dude?
to live here? What the hell? And so at that point, I was like, all right, that's what I'm going to do. Like, I got nothing on the way back. I'm going to go do that. And of course, so you have to have like a certain amount of experience before you do. It's typically at least 2 years of experience. I quit my job a year and 8 months because I had, at the time too, I was working so much overtime, just like.
Did you hit like basically?
Yeah, like I was like, I'm well over 2 years. I'm like, I'm out of here. And so I started traveling in, when was this? I think April of 2021. And of course, right when I start traveling, rates go just normalize completely.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's still like significantly better than being a staffer. You know, when you work at as a staffer somewhere, you can make good money, but as a new grad, you don't. And like you make good money, but from experience and like being at one place for a long time and stuff. So I was like, you know, I'm just gonna go send it and take this money, and that's why I went to New Orleans and stayed there for 6 months, and it's been around love ever since.
New Orleans was one of your favorite spots, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was freaking awesome. New Orleans, it's tough to say what like definitively is the best because they all have such amazing things. Denver was great. Denver, the city, I think is like, no offense to the squad that lives in Denver, like kind of overrated. Having like the friends from St. Louis, awesome. Having those people. But, and like truly snowboarding, the fucking best thing.
I remember that.
Yeah. Dude,
you were head over heels for that shit.
Oh my gosh. I was obsessed. And I'm still like, I'm planning on leaving in a couple of weeks just to go
for like another 10 days or something.
For like 10 days and not do anything else. But like this is like the city in general, like it's just so big.
It's huge.
It's so big and like not like so New Orleans, like you can walk everywhere. It's like very easy, very small city. You can get around easily. People are super nice. Not saying that people in Denver are nice, but like just completely different vibe. So it's like if I didn't have Davis and all them, like the St. Louis crew out there, like I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it nearly as much.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Like whereas like in New Orleans, I was truly on my own. I didn't know anyone out there. And when I first moved into New Orleans, it was the weekend of the Final Four.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it was in New Orleans. I got there, threw my stuff in my Airbnb, and walked down to the French Quarter. And, I mean, I was hanging out with people like we've been best friends for 10 years. And like, that's how I got
the flick of a switch.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, truly, Southern hospitality is a thing.
That's cool.
Especially down in New Orleans. It's the strangest, most amazing, loving
It is
place.
a strange city.
It's the strangest place. I tell this story all the time to, like, encapsulate what New Orleans is. So I was living in the Bywater, which is like neighborhood, I think, right northeast of the Quarter.
Okay.
And I had
Bywater, Louisiana.
Yeah. I had just bought a bicycle off a homeless man.
Oh yeah.
And
northeast of it.
Yeah.
You bought a bike off a homeless guy?
A hobo.
Oh fuck yeah.
Bought this bike. Obviously, like probably stolen parts.
Yeah, whatever.
Different parts put together.
Did it work?
It worked great.
There you go.
It worked great. And so I had just like, it was pretty fresh moving there, and I was riding my bike down. I went down to Cafe du Monde, and beautiful like Saturday day, like everyone's out in front of St. Louis Cathedral. Like people are playing music on the corner, artists are selling all their stuff. And I was just like riding my bike. I was like, oh, this is so awesome. Like I'm just like in New Orleans, like on my own, like just so happy. And like all of a sudden I hear this splash of what sounds like someone like dumping like buckets of water on the ground. And I turned my head and I was like, oh, what is, and it's this hobo in his underwear, nothing else, just sitting on a bench in front of St. Louis Cathedral, which is this beautiful cathedral. He's sitting there just vomiting everywhere on the cobblestone ground.
Oh my God.
And this place was packed, and I was literally the only one to even acknowledge that this man was doing that. Not a single person turned.
It was just normal for them.
It was just normal.
It was another fucking Tuesday afternoon.
I was like, this place is so freaking strange. What?
My God.
And that's like, no one cares what you're doing, what you're saying, as long as you're not infringing on their time.
Yeah.
They truly don't.
They'll let you be.
They'll let you be doing whatever you want, man.
This?
Yes.
Dude, I've never seen this.
It's absolutely, it's an awesome cathedral. There's like a park right in front of it where these artists will like sell.
Yeah, this looks incredible.
It really is. It's a beautiful place. Yeah, New Orleans, dude, that's the thing. Like that city is so freaking old
That's what. Okay,
It's unbelievably old.
it is. It's old. Yeah. What
It's
is
literally older than the States. And like it was a French, I think it was a Spanish and French colony prior to, and like those streets and a lot of those houses that were originally there are still there. And
Isn't that the thing about in the French Quarter, that one famous hotel? Whatever that is. It's like with like the rounded balconies that's super famous to stay in. I don't know the name of it, but there's something about it where it's been there for like 120 years or something like that.
A lot of these places are like that. And it's so crazy when you think about it's literally in the swamp.
1718.
Yeah, dude.
306 years ago.
It's old
Whoa.
as shit. Old as shit.
I didn't know that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
That's older than the country.
Way older. Like significantly older. Yeah. Isn't that nuts?
I didn't know that. It's funny you say that. I don't know why. I had this thought the other day. I was thinking about that. I was thinking about it exactly about Denver. And again, no hate to Denver.
Truly,
I love Denver.
Hate. I love Denver.
It's beautiful. It's incredible. But it almost feels like a pop-up city.
Yes.
And it's incredibly clean. There's so much to do.
Yeah.
It's bustling. But it's like this city was like, it was just like thrown up.
Right.
Whereas like, sure, call it New Orleans. Never been there, but I assume Boston's the same thing.
Right.
It's how Chicago feels.
Yeah.
Like shit like that, where it's like these buildings are 100 years old. Like even in Chicago, some of these like townhomes are like 100-year-old townhomes.
Right.
It's like in the city of St. Louis, like it's all fucking run down.
Right.
But it's the exact same kind of a thing.
It's got a long history of like inhabitant. So that's what
Where the walkability's still there because they're not knocking
gonna
down
do
anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So that we're going from New Orleans is first of all, another thing is like, dude, its culture is every culture together in one. And like so that makes it this weird, gross, smelly place with amazing food and amazing people. And it's not forced at all. Denver, again, great city, awesome place, but it just seems so like they're trying hard to be like weird hippies.
That's how I was just in Austin for a wedding, and I felt that exact same way about Austin.
It seems like it's like
everything was new. There was so much being built, and it was like, and like the couple Ubers that I were with, like OG Austinites, were like, "This sucks." And I'm like, "Damn, that kind of blows."
Dude, that's so sad. But yeah, it's like the vibe in New Orleans is not like forced at all. It is what it is. It's been that way since forever. It's gonna continue being.
Yeah.
That way.
Oh yeah.
Whereas like Denver, I don't know shit about the history of Denver, but like it's blowing up. It's a rapidly growing city, but it's like the hippie weirdness vibe just seems unnatural. Just seems a little unnatural.
That's fair because of the weed and because of the mountains. People like feel like they have to do that.
Exactly. So New Orleans, like if I didn't have my girlfriend now, I'd probably be
back there.
I'd probably be back there.
Wow, you really liked it.
Love that place.
You were there for 6 months.
I was there for 10 months total. 10 months total.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went there for the first time, was there for 6 months, then went to Denver for 6 months, and then went back to New Orleans for 4 months.
Wow, you liked it that much?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That place. It's awesome. I mean, truly just like the second time I lived there, I was in Treme, which is a neighborhood right south of actually right north, directly north of the quarter. And I lived right next to a high school, and every Sunday morning, every second Sunday morning, the brass band would practice.
Oh, that's incredible!
And my old man neighbor and I would just sit out on our porch and listen to one of the best brass bands you've ever heard.
Yeah, I bet, dude.
It was unbelievable. It's just the coolest freaking place. Now the thing is, the hurricanes freak me out.
Yeah,
they don't affect those people. They don't care about it.
They've been there forever, dude.
They've been there forever.
Or the bayou. They're
gonna keep going.
thick and thin.
Yeah, dude. So that place is really, really awesome. I think, Madison, Wisconsin.
My sister lived in Madison. I love Madison. Dude, Madison was so cool.
An amazing city.
What time of year were you? From when to when?
Winter. I was there from.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I was there from October till about. When was it? It was probably. Yeah, September, October, November.
Yeah, thick of it.
Yeah, thick of it.
Good God.
Yeah, that city was dope. That city's so cool. Another small, like little hippie town.
Yeah, big time.
On like the lakes.
Super liberal.
Crazy. And like, I mean, every city I've been to is like makes some kind of claim like this is like, oh, we're the most rapid growing city in this. Like, okay, everybody makes that claim, but Madison has like a big population of like people our age, like from like 25 to 29. We're all moving in, and like it really was the case.
It is a young city.
Yeah, it really was. It was. So that place was really awesome. Another place with just the most fantastic, nice people in the world, and like drank so much beer.
Yeah.
So much beer, dude.
Spotted Cow.
Yes,
Yeah,
dude.
Spotted
Not
Cow's a
stop
goat.
drinking Spotted Cow. One of my
You
best,
wake up feeling like you drank all the Spotted Cow too, dude.
One of my best friends from college is from there, and he lived down there too. So I had like him and like his girl who I went to college with, and like I had some friends who were up there. And then San Francisco, that was just kind of came out of nowhere.
So you did. You started in NOLA, went to Denver, went back to NOLA, Madison, and then San Fran. Now you're home.
Yeah.
And then you're back going to San Diego.
San Diego.
Okay,
Yeah.
San Francisco.
Right. San Francisco. So California is a nursing haven, meaning
Oh, interesting.
the laws in California for nurses are the best. So we're well staffed, we're well paid. For example, like it's a state law that if you work over 8 hours, anything over that 8 hours has to be overtime pay. So I work 12-hour shifts. So
That's what that's what I was hearing. You
so that
work
means
3 12s or 4 10s,
3 12s.
whatever.
That means 8 or 12 hours of my week, I get time and a half.
Wow.
Just like regular work. And then also I have to take 1 hour and 15-minute breaks. I have
amongst that 8 hours?
amongst that 12 hours.
Oh.
So it's like you have to take a break for every X amount of time.
I got
it's
you.
Like, but because we work 12 hours, that means I get an hour and 15-minute break.
Wow.
Which prior to that,
So you're there for 13 hours and 15 minutes, or are you only working for 10 hours and 45?
10 hours, 45.
Okay.
Yeah, typically. Or I'd say you probably like 11 hours, and then
Right.
with like, report and stuff, like
Right.
getting out kind of takes a little bit. But yeah, so prior to that, dude, I'm taking probably less than 40 breaks in my life.
Right. You
And
just
like
keep rolling.
the breaks I take are like inhale my food and then go back out. So with the pay, the laws and everything, like I had always known I wanted to go out there with work. And like life circumstances just kind of like happened where I was like, all right, I'm going to go to California. So I went to California, up in the Bay. So I was in San Mateo, working in San Mateo.
Okay.
In fact, it's a hometown of Tom Brady.
No way.
Yeah.
Interesting. That is, okay, fun
So
fact.
San Mateo is it's on the peninsula, and so the Bay's here. San Francisco's like on the top of the peninsula, and then San Jose is south, like the south part of the Bay.
Oh, I've never realized this.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Right.
Keep going.
So I lived on the peninsula, and honestly, like now that I live there I was there for 9 months. Like after living there, like when I was saying I was going to I was living in San Francisco, but like now that I was there, and like, dude, I lived in San Mateo. Like I lived on a peninsula. I wasn't in San Francisco. Really hardly that at all. I would say San Francisco, from where I was working and living, is equivalent from here to the city. So like.
I got you. 45 minutes. Yeah, 30 miles, 40 miles, something like that.
Especially with traffic on the 101, which is like chaos. So yeah, I really wasn't spending a whole lot of time in San Francisco.
That's where Stanford is. I never knew that.
Yeah. So my girlfriend works as an athletic trainer at Stanford.
No shit.
Palo Alto, dude. Oh my God.
I've heard. That was Stanford was my dream school back in high school.
Really?
If I hit a certain ACT threshold, I was going to apply. Didn't hit it.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right.
But it's all good.
Yeah, dude. That place it's unbelievable.
I've heard great things. That's one of the only states I've flown through it, whatever,
Right.
played a lacrosse tournament.
Yeah.
But I've never done like a destination or like tourist shit to any part of California.
Really?
And obviously LA, whatever, San Diego. But I really want to go to like Northern California and do that whole thing.
It's real. People always, when I was living
It's
there,
a huge state, bro.
yeah, it's a massive state.
Because San Fran from LA is like probably what, 4 or 5 hours?
No, I think it's like a solid 7 hours. I think so.
Oh, holy shit. Yeah, that's way farther.
Yeah, dude. It's
Motherfucker.
a massive state. It's a massive state. When I moved out there, I had to go in through south. Like I had to enter California through LA and drive all the way up. And that took me about 8 hours to get up.
Yep, it's 7 hours, no
traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
382 miles.
Yeah,
Holy
dude.
shit.
And that's just small because there's still another 300 miles north past San Francisco. And there's still another probably 300 south of LA with San Diego and everything. Yeah, dude, it's a massive state.
Would you go back there?
To San Fran?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. If
Could you live there again?
Would I live there again? Yeah.
Really?
I mean, my girlfriend's there, so her whole family's from there.
Is she there? She's there right now.
Yeah, so she lives there. I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's not like if I wouldn't be upset about living there. The thing is, dude, the taxes.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's all I hear.
Oh my gosh.
But it makes sense. I mean, if you're paying nurses like how they should be paid.
Right. Exactly. So that was one of the main reasons I left is because. So with
you're getting paid, but you weren't getting any of it.
I'm not trying to pay those taxes.
Yeah, like that.
So if I stay somewhere for over a year, I become a tax resident of that state, and I have to pay taxes to the government.
I see.
So because I was coming up on a year, if I didn't leave, all the money that I made would then be back taxed. And I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Because all the money I make is like probably 70% untaxed because I make all my money off stipends. And like my taxed hourly rate is trash. But the money I do make is just like you have to be smart with.
That's interesting.
Paying rent and all that stuff. Yeah.
That probably puts a lot of people in a pickle.
No, it does for sure. For sure. And I probably would.
Are these just monthly stipends?
Weekly stipends.
Oh, okay.
So I get a weekly food and housing stipend of like, we'll just say like $1,000. And then I get my hourly pay, which probably ends at like, so my hourly pay is really only like $20 an hour.
But the stipends
are like
inflated.
Usually somewhere around, like food is typically around 500 to 600. And then housing is usually anywhere between $1,500 and $1,900 a week.
So those initial amount of money you saw back in 2020 or whatever,
right?
Was that inflated because of the hourly pay or because of the stipends?
That is all stipends still. All stipends.
Oh, okay, right. I got you.
So
but how it breaks out, that's what I
exactly.
see.
So like whenever you see a contract, it'll say like $5,000 a week. That's the total amount you gross, not including if you have benefits. If you take benefits, they take that out of that stipend. And then also, like, you have to qualify for getting your stipend per week. So if I get called off of work or something, if I don't go to work for like 2 days, I don't get my full stipend. So I only get like a portion of it as opposed to getting the full thing. So I have to work my full hours or use like PTO or something in order to get my full stipend. Yeah.
Sounds like you really enjoyed this.
Yeah, that's sweet. It's interesting.
What I think traveling nursing is a whole different ballgame.
Right.
I think traveling is very important.
Yeah.
I think it's very important for people to, one, if they can, move out of their hometown, or two, like go abroad.
Yeah.
Backpack.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
What did you learn about yourself from all this?
I would say one thing, I think I'm a lot more resilient and resourceful, and I don't really say that like that being a specific trait of mine, but I think that was like the most important thing I've learned from it. Totally, is like when you're completely alone somewhere, you have to like be comfortable being alone. That's tough. Being alone is tough, and like when you're sitting there just doing nothing, and you have nobody to talk to. Like you got to be able to hone yourself in.
Yeah. And sit on your couch in silence.
Right, exactly. That's a skill, and that's really important. I also think, there have been times, specifically when I was in Denver, that I was broke. And I stayed in Denver because I didn't have enough money to drive home.
Shit.
So then you just like, I had to figure out how to make cash. And I was like, I have to do it. I have to do it. There's no other option. DoorDash, doing all these odd jobs, Craigslist jobs, doing everything. Like, so that I really learned that, which now I think, amongst other things, like it gives me so much comfort in myself and like security. Is like I've always kind of been cool, calm, and collected guy in chaos, but like with these experiences in traveling, I've been like, I've been in way like crazy situations.
Yeah, dude.
And made it back home like all good and like
you're here now.
Right.
You're on to the next one.
Truly. So another thing is I think I realized I'm a lot more introverted than I thought I was.
Oh, really?
A lot more.
Because you were okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I was like, it was being, especially like now that I'm fighting, I think I'm more serious of an athlete now than I was in college, probably.
No way.
Yeah, like now, like I'm pretty chill and like don't like party super hard. And like in college, I was nutbag.
College kid, yeah.
So like when I go places, it's difficult to like kind of make friends randomly because like I've made friends, like, you know, meeting them out at a bar or something, or meeting people at a concert. But the problem is, like, when I meet someone in that setting, then our friendship, the foundation is getting fucked up.
Bars, yeah.
And then they're like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? I'm like, well, I got a fight coming up, or I got a tournament coming up, or like, I'm really just not trying to get fucked up.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And like, you know, all the people I've met have never been like, oh, like they've all been like, oh, that's awesome. Like, do you? But like, it's hard to maintain relationships when that's like kind of the foundation.
The social setting is that.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
I get that.
Yeah, and honestly, like most of the people I have met are just like the coolest people. And like I know like a couple of my friends in New Orleans, like I could call tomorrow and be like, hey, what are you guys doing? They'll be like, oh, sure, come on by. And like they're just the nicest people. So that's another thing I realized, and like that's okay, you know? Like I think that's part of growing up. And like I think
absolutely.
Good thing not being hungover all the time is super great.
Found out it's good for you. How about that?
You know.
Shocker.
But at the same time of being more introverted, it's also forced me to be more social, because there's a balance of like isolating and being like a person, you know. So now I have much better skills of going out, not knowing anyone, and forcing myself to talk to someone, like forcing myself to do things that typically wouldn't be out, like would be a little more, like at the beginning at least of traveling, were a little more difficult.
And also being able to do it without necessarily having to get fucked up.
Right, exactly. That's another thing.
You get 10 beers in you can talk to anybody.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And
that's actually a good skill. I've been working on that because it's hard. It's tough, dude.
Yeah,
you go to a bar and like you're not supposed to drink and you want to converse with people, but everyone's having slamming beers. Like I don't really want to have a cocktail tonight. Whatever. Right. It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough, and that's what like I think after seeing so many different cities and places, I think a city is really like the general like environment is important for like those kind of things. Like if you have a city like San Francisco or California in general is good at like having things to do that don't involve drinking. Like
that's how I felt about Denver.
Really?
A lot of people I've picked up on a lot of people there are not sober, but they don't drink. Like it's whatever. They'll have a beer, whatever here or there, but they're not drinkers.
Exactly.
And I can appreciate that because they've pieced together the social setting of doing the hike, going rafting, going skiing, whatever. Exactly. They don't have to get wasted just to hang out with each other, which I totally get. Like I wish we had something like that, but I resort to getting fucked up.
Yeah. It's usually I will resort to it. And that's like New Orleans. Once you get over the fact that you're living in New Orleans, like once you get out visiting and living there are two different things. Like visiting there, go Bourbon Street, you're gonna have a great time. Go do your thing. But once you're living there, you can really like all the art there, all the freaking like food and the dancing and the music. You'll see the best artists you've ever seen and not know who these humans are. And like they're just playing.
That's sweet, yeah.
And you're like, who is this guy?
It's just some guy that's been playing the drums for 35 years or whatever.
A lot of the people I would meet people like through friends, and like we'd be out on Frenchman. Frenchman is locals bourbon. So Bourbon Street is like very touristy. Everyone goes there.
Is Frenchman an area, a street?
Frenchman's a street.
Okay.
I think like 5 or 6 blocks away from Bourbon, and it's much smaller, and it's all where all the locals go. And it's all the best. Like, at least this is what the general vibe is of like what the locals will say. It's all the best music. And I've met musicians who were like, my whole life goal is to be a regular here and on Frenchman.
And for
if
people,
I can just be a regular
people
here,
on Frenchman to know them.
Yeah,
wow.
exactly. And like there were so many artists that said like, I just want to be a regular here, whether that be like anywhere in New Orleans typically. And like, there's just so much cool stuff going on there. Denver, Wisconsin was a little different, especially in the winter.
Yeah.
Drank a lot of beer. Drank a lot of beer.
Cold as fuck up there, dude.
Very cold. Very cold. And that's probably another thing. I mean, just having when you kind of just like change your mind of like, I don't want to get fucked up all the time. And you're like, okay, you become like similar to when you broke and you have to make money.
Yeah.
When you don't want to get fucked up, you have to find
shit
things
to do.
You know, jiu-jitsu and like MMA has been really good for that too. Cause like I just go to a bunch of different gyms. I've been able to meet people through that. So yeah.
I just check out different spaces.
Yeah.
When my older sister lived in Madison for, gosh, I want to say it was 2, maybe it was even 3 years, because her husband worked at Epic Health Systems.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever go to that big-ass campus?
No.
Bro, have you ever heard of it?
People that were there.
Dude,
yeah.
well, that's the crazy thing is it's based in Madison. One, if I were to redo college, but I would have highly considered UW.
Yeah,
UW's sick.
Awesome.
It's something crazy, like 99% of Epic's workforce lives in Madison.
Holy
and
shit.
they employ like 40-something thousand people.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's nuts. Anyway, their campus is like this. Do you even know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
How it's like the themed and like all that stuff.
No, I don't know that though.
So it's like, dude, I don't know how to. Like one building's the Star Wars building, one building is the Alice in Wonderland building, one building's this massive barn, and it's like the farm building. They've got like slides in there, like dude. These and like when I'm saying these Epic Health Systems, yeah, dude, it's crazy. People look it up. It's fucking insane. You can go there and just do tours.
That's nuts.
It's like, bro,
that's so funny because I met so many people who were like, yeah, I work for Epic, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
They have an auditorium underground that fits the entire company. Yeah, bro. What? I'm not kidding. It's fucking nuts. Look at this. Look at this shit. So this is the campus. And, like, each building has a different theme. And, like, this barn, like, 5,000 people work in that barn. And all of them.
I'm here for it. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude. And, like, they're themed. And there's, like, candy lands. And there's slides. And there's, like, these little book nooks. And, like, dude, it's crazy.
That is nuts.
Anywhere, that's why they lived there.
It's crazy what these corporations do to trick you into thinking you're not part of the machine.
Come into
man.
happiness.
You're part of the machine, man. Don't buy into it.
We went up there and visited her a couple times. We went in like March, dude, like around spring break when I was in college. And that I don't know the names of the lakes, but the one the UW sat on.
And Winona.
Yeah, I think it was Winona.
Yeah.
And I walked like half a mile out onto this lake on ice in the middle of March. Yeah. And I was like, it's
a cold bitch up there.
Never got to ice fish. I really wanted to go ice fishing. Yeah. But every time we went, her birthday's in June, so we would always go and visit her in June. And
trust me, that's about it.
Dude, it was we'd be like paddle boarding and all that stuff. Yeah. We never rented a boat. We did rent like one of those booze cruise paddle boats one time. Right. Nice. Madison during the summer was unbelievable. I love that city.
It's a beautiful place. It really is. It's a really cool spot. Yeah.
Okay, so pivot to get into that. MMA.
Yeah.
So I'm an idiot when it comes to this stuff.
I'm still pretty much an idiot, but
give us a 30-second explanation of what you do and where you're at.
Right now I'm an amateur MMA fighter, so I don't get paid. I don't sign contracts for money. Sometimes I get paid depending on various state laws or whatever. Sometimes I don't. But so my fights right now are just a learning experience until I turn pro. Then once I turn pro, I will start making money, and my amateur record does not matter. So
you would start 0-0.
Yes, I start 0-0. None of the amateur record matters at all. And pretty much, yeah, like I said, it's all just kind of a learning experience prior to turning pro.
I found that how you said you think you think of yourself as a more serious athlete now. That's wild.
Yeah.
From playing football to now.
Yeah, I mean, just like looking at it objectively, like how much I drank and partied and like.
And how seriously you take it now.
Right, yeah, like which now, like, I pretty much, especially when fights are coming up, like, you know, I still have, like, casual beers, but, like, I won't, like I'm training probably more. No, I can't speak for these last 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks I've taken off. But prior to that, like, I'm probably training 5 to 6 times a week, like, multiple times a day, depending on, you know, work and all that stuff.
And it's also because it's you're doing it on your own.
Yeah,
it's not these mandated team
right,
workouts.
Exactly. That's a big thing. That's
mandatory.
Yeah, that's part of it's a cursing and it's a curse and a blessing at the same time, because I cannot show up and no one will care, but also no one will care.
Right.
No one's gonna text me and say, "Hey, where you at?"
Right.
Last 2 weeks, I've effed off completely. The last 2 weeks, been a couple times, but it's like I've just been like with the last couple fights being canceled. Like, so since my fight that I had in, what was that, May, June, July. Yeah, so
the ones here.
Yeah, the ones here. So since May, since the fight I won, to November 1st, the fight I just lost, like I had 2 fights lined up in between those, and like I've essentially been in like camp for like the past 5-6 months. So like don't really have time of like relaxing and like hanging out and just like kind of pulling, like letting my central nervous system like relax. Whereas like there's always been like something coming up, something that I need to be preparing for, something coming up. So like since this last fight,
it's like a tense limbo.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, it's not like I don't get stressed about it, but I can feel just my body like the past 2 weeks, I can just feel like my body just relaxing, just having like a good time to just chill out, have like nothing to look forward to, nothing to train for. And like, it's been good. So, I mean, yeah, I eat way cleaner. I'm way more, way more, what's the word? Cognizant about how I'm sleeping, how I'm recovering, doing things for recovery. Yeah, I mean, I'm because this is a new sport for me relative to like football. Like, I'm like constantly watching fights. I like it; they're super fun to watch. It's the most fun sport, super but also is like trying to learn shit, because like I'm so brand new relative to like some of these guys who've been training their whole life, and like I just started like now 4 years ago, and like, I mean, playing football for 4 years, like you don't know shit about football.
No,
like,
fuck
I played for 16 years. And I felt like really the last 2-3 years of football is when I really started to know things about the game and know all that stuff. And also it's just like, I mean, really the biggest thing is just like kind of just what you're doing with your own free time of like drinking, getting fucked up, doing all these things. And like, you can't be like a really serious athlete if you're doing all that. And like I still, like I said, like I'll still drink a beer and like maybe that'll be a detriment, but I'm not. It's not nearly to the scale that I was in high school and college. I was still able to like go and do things and like get everything done that I needed to be done, but it definitely like didn't make me better. Like of partying every weekend after
just even itself out,
and like blacking out and stuff. Like it's just crazy. So yeah. So
that's what you've been doing it for about 4 years.
Yeah.
I think a lot of athletes, even post high school and especially post college, going into the workforce, they struggle with it. They really lose themselves because they had that base, that concrete.
Right.
Like
it's almost like your identity.
Yeah. And you knew what you had to do. Right. You were with people doing it. You had that goal. But as soon as that's over, did you always have an interest in fighting? Did you think you were going to get into fighting, or just like post grad, you were like just still working out and stuff and you found an interest in it, or what? Yeah, how'd this come about?
Growing up, like when I was little, I always loved like Oscar De La Hoya was like the man to me growing up.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, I love Golden Boy. Then I remember in like probably around kindergarten, first grade is like some of my first memories of watching like Chuck Liddell win his titles, and like we would watch him all the time. I loved it, but it was like that boxing and all that stuff was never really an option. Not because like my parents wouldn't allow me, but it was just like, well, I play football, basketball, baseball, and all this other stuff. So like,
where are you gonna find boxing at?
Yeah, like how am I gonna fit time in for that? So I was always a fan of it, and then probably around college, I like once I was like, I'm not going to the NFL. I'm not doing that. Like, can't, and also don't want to. Like, can't, not possible, and not willing. I'm good. I'm good. And once like I kind of knew that time was coming, I was like really starting to get interested in jiu-jitsu, like watching gi jiu-jitsu. So gi is like the pajama looking thing that they wear. I started getting into that a lot. And I would watch like the world championships all the time.
But you had never done it prior.
I'd never done it.
Oh, okay.
And then my last semester my spring semester of my 5th year, I was just a student.
Yeah.
And we had an MMA club at the thing. So
that's cool.
I did that a couple times, but it was like me, you, Kellen, and Noah like, going to the
getting sweaty with each other.
Like,
yeah.
There was a couple of like, there was a pro who's there. I'm sure he's like, from what I remember, he was pretty good. And then like some other guys who like were amateurs who knew little stuff. And I only wanted to do jiu-jitsu. I was like, I just played 16 years of football. Probably shouldn't be punched in the head anymore. Maybe get away from that.
Attaboy.
I just want to do jiu-jitsu, and like that way I have something like kind of continues to do, because I'm just an extremely competitive person. Like I'm not so much like competitive, like I need to win, but I need to be competing, going after something and like measuring myself against something.
Yeah, I get that.
And so when I graduated, it's funny, when I moved back home, Zach Munoz was still living in St. Louis, and Zach and I were hitting pads in my house, like literally in my front room. We bought like Thai pads and we were hitting them with each other.
Smacking each other.
We didn't know shit about them and like or how to do any of it. And Zach do you know a guy named Justin Bricker? He was a CBC boy. He was he was a senior before, like when we were in 8th grade.
Okay.
So my brother knew him. They were in the same class together. And Zach said, "Oh, Bricker trains at this jiu-jitsu gym. You should hit him up." I was like, "Hell yeah!" So I hit Bricker up. Said, "Hey, like I'm interested in getting jiu-jitsu. Woo woo." So that was at St. Charles MMA. So I went straight over to St. Charles MMA. Probably like 3 months into being at home, and then started training jiu-jitsu. And then probably, I'd say 2 to 3 months into training, I would just see like MMA practice in the other room. I'd be like, that looks so fucking sick.
Like the Muay Thai, the kickboxing, everything like that.
And everything. I would see like the MMA.
Someone throws like a roundhouse kick. Like, ooh, that's cool.
So like MMA practice goes on at the same time beginner jiu-jitsu class goes on. And like I would literally, through the doorway, see what they're doing. And I'd be like, damn, that looks so sweet. I want to do that. And then I just naturally went over to that.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I took my first fight 6 months into training on 9-day notice. TKO'd the guy.
Holy shit.
First round. Shit, dude. Can't say shit to me.
That's a high you're always looking to reach now.
Bro, it's the craziest
I
high.
can't imagine.
The craziest high. I mean, like nothing you've ever experienced.
No, I can't imagine knocking someone out clean.
Gosh, dude, it was just fucking
when you're supposed to.
Yeah, right.
Like that's the whole goal.
It's nuts. It was nuts.
So this was 4 years ago. This was 2020. Sometime in 2020 you started this?
I think March of 2020. Yes, March 2020.
Okay, so you're going on 5 years.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
That was something I was curious about, was the whole, because there's, 30 different types of fighting and combat?
Right, there's so many.
And you picked up jiu-jitsu because you saw it and had an interest in it.
Right.
Would you, let's say I want to get an MMA.
Yeah.
Whether it's just me going against you, going to the gyms, whatever, would you say start with jiu-jitsu, start with Muay Thai, start with kickboxing? What and why?
I would say, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the photo.
You're good.
I'll give you the exact date of, so it wasn't 2020, it might have been 21. Trying to find the photo of me. I was flexing. There's a photo of me flexing hard after winning. So it was May of 2021.
Okay. Yep.
My first one.
Yep. Nice.
Oh yeah.
9 days notice. That's fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah. So, I would say rewind time and start wrestling when you were 5 years old.
Oh yeah, sure. Get that.
That's my best advice. But if you now are trying to fight, honestly, I would say get really good at one thing. Pick your poison. Just get really, really good at one thing, and then start probably after a year of like mastering one thing, then start going MMA and like start training for the MMA, because So like if your jiu-jitsu's really good and someone takes you down, you should be fine. You know, you can always go to the ground if the fight obviously starts standing up, you can always go to the ground, but you at least have, if you can like solidify like 4 or 5 moves that are just unstoppable and like where you can do these things no matter what, you'll probably win your first 2 fights. If your boxing is really, really good and you go against other amateurs whose striking probably is not good, especially if you're starting out, you're going to just piece somebody up. As long as you understand that you are at risk to going on the ground. So you have to stay on your bike, staying away from them. Right. I would say maybe the last thing to get into would be kickboxing, Muay Thai, because it requires so much central nervous system. Like you're using obviously 4 limbs as opposed to just 2, or just like one discipline of being on the ground.
That's because that's a whole other extreme of coordination.
Right, exactly. And it's very different. I think if you can just narrow your focus onto just the hands and really just have sharp hands, that would be the best way to go. But I mean, it's a little different for everyone athletically. I mean, if like I've been a just above mediocre athlete my whole life, and I've been able to I pick up things pretty quickly. So when I started, I just went into everything immediately. Which is good. So like now I have a good balance of everything, but it's also like I wonder a lot, like, would it just have been better to just...
You went some other way.
If I would have just sat in a boxing gym or like sat in jiu-jitsu, probably not, but if I would have just sat at one discipline for like a solid amount of time and then gone because I pick things up easily. So if I really would have solidified one thing and then start working in, but yeah, the biggest thing is wrestling. If you can wrestle, if you know wrestling, holy shit, man.
Did you ever think about wrestling?
I did in high school. I thought about wrestling.
You never did though, right?
No, I never did.
Those guys were freaks.
Bro, dude, that shit's...
Like anytime for lacrosse, our coach like recruit kids, like get some football players. Like, no, we want wrestlers.
Yeah.
We want the psycho kids.
They're nuts. Like cutting weight and like they have to.
Yeah, like Louis Martinez, dude. He was sitting there like chewing Hubba Bubba in like a sweatsuit. I'm like, you're fucking crazy, bro.
They have to cut weight that day, weigh in, and then compete a couple hours later. And then if they compete again tomorrow, they have to maintain weight to. Because
they might have to drop that 6, 7, 8 pounds that day, whatever it is.
Exactly. So
holy shit.
Yeah, I thought about wrestling in high school, but you remember Chris Taylor?
Yeah.
So Chris was a wrestler, and this was, I think, junior or senior year. I think junior year. I was thinking about wrestling because I stopped playing basketball at the time, and it's like a late winter sport, and I was thinking about doing it. And long story short, Chris got a skin infection, impetigo, on his face. And I saw him. I was like, "What's up, Chris?" And Chris turned his head, and like I saw it. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like, "Oh yeah, what is wrong with you?"
Oh
He's
no,
like, "Yeah, dude, I got it from the mats." I was like, "Nope,
I'm out. That's it. I'm done."
Fun. Fast forward to when I start jiu-jitsu. First month, I got impetigo on my face.
Yeah. No way.
Now I get it on my face every so often.
It's just like a week-long skin infection or something?
Yeah, probably about a week. It's just, now I have this, like, what is it called? It's just like a antibiotic that you get like a prescription for. Now I have like 6
so you just got
things of them, so I just like, I'm stay active on it.
God damn.
Yeah, it's a disgust. I mean, anything involving mats and wrestling and sweaty humans.
That was like the kids that always walked around with like cauliflower ear. Bro, I'm like, bro, how can you hear?
It changes your hearing. I have one of my ears now. This is starting to get better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It just got really bad recently. So, but it's funny. I always, whenever I would watch it as a little kid, I'd always be like, I just want one cauliflower ear.
I gotta look like a hard
It's
ass.
working so far.
I gotta.
I don't get it on this side. I only get it on my left side. So yeah. So we're getting there. We're about halfway there now.
Wrestling. I thought about it because I knew because like like the pure athletic base you get from wrestling, being able to control your body, like learning how to fall.
Right.
Like most of those kids can do standing backflips.
Yeah.
And like just being able like low center of gravity. Mm-hmm. The best football players I ever knew were all wrestlers. They were like my buddy Connor Flynn. He played at Francis Howell.
Yeah.
And then he went on to wrestle at West Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
And then he wrestled at Mizzou.
Oh, hell yeah.
Went to the tournament and all that shit. Now his little brother's actually the varsity wrestling coach at CBC.
No shit.
Yeah, Jack Flynn. Nice. He is like, to this day, one of the best athletes I've ever known. Yeah. And I just thought he was a sick football player. And then me and my dad found out he was a wrestler. My dad was like, yeah, that's why. And I was like, damn.
It's interesting because I would have historically agreed with you, but a couple years ago, Sean O'Malley was talking about how he thinks he's a very good athlete. Mm-hmm. He thinks that, especially when you're young, if you just do what every single type of sport, instead of like just wrestling or just whatever, if you just do every sport, that your athletic base is going to be way better because
I agree with that.
Constantly in different scenarios, you know, as opposed to just being a baseball player, just being a football player, just being a basketball player or whatever.
I would definitely advocate for that, especially what I'm seeing with all these kids nowadays that are like, I can specifically speak for lacrosse and like how like gung ho these parents are. It's like, this is your one sport. Right. I would be burnt out before I'm in high school, dude. And like you're in these traveling leagues where you, I mean, these kids are playing a game of lacrosse a week the entire year. Really? I would be and like these traveling baseball teams.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, I'm all about that because everything that was something I talked about with Matt when he was on here. Was like how basketball applied to baseball, how football applied to baseball, how baseball applied to football, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with you. And actually, that was something that, like, my parents put me in gymnastics when I was young.
That's fucking awesome.
And, like, I remember, like, learning how to do a front flip when I was, like, 5.
Yeah.
And then, like, I could do a back flip, like in the next
that's
month. And kids are like, how the fuck do you know that? I'm like, how do you not know how to do that?
Did you not take gymnastics, you loser?
What? You guys take gymnastics class? You remember in, what is it, The Other Guys, when he learns how to be a ballerina just to make
He walks in and, like, spins, like, 3 times.
Does, like, a pirouette.
She's like, that was actually really good.
So funny. But yeah, it's I'm a big believer in that. Like I recently have had interactions like it's not super uncommon to have interactions with like young kids at the gym, whether it be jiu-jitsu training out there and stuff, and like, you know, all of them say the same thing, like my goal is to be in the UFC and like all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, you're 13.
Right, yeah.
Chill out.
Go kick a soccer ball. You'll be fine.
Soccer ball. Like, go do it. Like, be a kid.
For real.
You got plenty of time to chase that dream. I get it. But you, first of all, your body is not even close to developed yet. Not even close.
Not even close.
And like, if you put so much time and effort in it now, it should be gamified right now. It should be, you should be doing this because you like.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Because it's fun. It should not be because I'm trying to get to a goal or whatever. Like, and if it is, you really need to be careful because that burnout comes quick. That burnout comes very, very quick, you know?
I agree. So with your, I want to play like, not devil's advocate, but like, if I want to get an MMA, if I want to go to the UFC, you're still at St. Charles MMA, right?
Yeah.
Shout out. Good for you.
Yeah, shout out St. Charles. Shout out Mike Rogers. Roberts.
5-6 times a week? Is that 2-a-days?
I would say, when I'm working, 4 to 5. When I'm not working, typically 6. Like leading up to this fight, it was about 6 days a week.
And what is a training session?
Training, so like on Monday, right? So on Wednesdays, it's here at St. Charles, are MMA practices. So typically what I would do, like in the morning, I'd come in and hit pads with my coach for an hour. We'd do like combinations on the pads, and like we'd work on like some like little.
You talking like a heavy bag, a speed bag, or like those
hand? He's holding pads, and then like
okay.
I'm hitting him. He's doing stuff, whether it be like game, like fight specific, or kind of like general stuff of like turning my hip. Like I have a bad habit of like not turning my hips, like not stepping into like certain things, and he like is constantly trying to drill that into me. And then it's like combos and stuff. So you're hitting pads for an hour. Then that'll be in the morning. Then around 4:30, I go to MMA practice, which is like hour and a half ish. We start typically it's like just head movement. So I throw 1, 2, 3. You're dipping and dodging, moving out of the way. Then it's like I throw a combo, you throw a combo response, kind of like drilling very simple things to get like to drill like responses into you.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, drill takedown entry. So I drill like my single leg entry, drill my double leg entry. I'll drill like other entries to get a takedown. Then it's like, I'll throw a combination, and in the middle of the combination, you get the takedown. So like I throw 1, 2, you'll slip the 1, go under the 2 into a takedown and take me all the way down. And then from that takedown, whoever got taken down, then works up from, there are like set moves and set like sequences you do to work up. So you're drilling for really like the first 30 minutes of class, or minutes of practice. Then it's usually like flavor of the day, like whatever
Nice,
the move is. So like we'll go into working from the wall. So like we'll be in like small groups. Typically it's with like whoever's your body size, guys in your weight class. And our coach Jake, my coach Jake, shout out Jake, he's a fucking man. The best coach in St. Louis.
What's up, Jake?
Jake Roberts by far, Mike Rogers by far, Jimmy Donahue by far. These guys are the best fucking coaches in the world. So Jake will be like, all right, we're going to work single leg entry into high crotch, into like all this stuff. So like we'll start the first like 10 minutes of literally just drilling it. So like I'm against the wall, you're pushing me into the wall. You work the single leg and then transitioning into the high crotch. And then we'll drill it. And then the next half will be, okay, we're going live. So it's like full sparring, not really striking, but I'm doing everything I can to get off the wall and prevent the takedown. You're doing everything to get the takedown, whether that be the thing we just drilled or some other way. And then after that, usually we'll finish with like, go like rolls, like a couple minute roll. So just like straight jiu-jitsu or something, or like finish with some other drill like that. But usually it's like we're drilling or practicing 1 or 2 specific things, and then from there we'll go live in that scenario. And then usually after that, depending on how I feel, there's like jiu-jitsu class after that, which sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So that's like Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, or so like on Thursdays and Saturdays are spar days. So usually similar thing in the morning, try to hit pads with Jake, or I'll go in at 4 and do some like jiu-jitsu, some rolls. So in jiu-jitsu, sparring is called rolling. Mm-hmm. So do rolls, and then on Thursday, sparring starts at like 4:30. So I'll roll for a little bit, and then we'll spar, probably anywhere from 10 to 12 rounds. And we'll start out just like kickboxing. We'll start like similar with the practice I was just talking about. We'll start out with like just drilling some, like I throw like a 1, 2, 3, finish with a kick. You respond, or I'll throw a kick, like drilling specific things, and then we'll start sparring, like starting light, and then go a little, kind of pick it up, and then usually we'll do like 5, 6 rounds of kickboxing with shin guards and 16-ounce gloves. Mm-hmm. And then usually we finish it with like 4 to 5 rounds of grapple boxing, which is just like sparring with the MMA gloves. Yeah. Which is like, you have to bring down the power a lot, because you can fuck each other up with the like 7 to 6 ounce gloves, because they're way smaller. So that means the damage is way more significant. So yeah, and then like that's Thursday. Saturday is like pretty much our heavy spar day, where it's like strictly sparring, depending on who has fights coming up. Some guys will get like more attention, whereas like some guys will do, the pros do this a lot, where they'll do Shark Tank rounds. So pros have 5-minute round fights.
Okay.
So they'll have
Versus your what, 2 or 3?
3 and 3 minutes. So they'll have
That's a long 2 minutes.
long 2 minutes. It's a long
Good
time.
Lord.
So they have rounds where it'll be like, I do 2 minutes with, if you're a pro, say I do 2 minutes with Jack, and then at the 2 minutes, a fresh body will come in and do 2 minutes, and then at that 2 minutes, the last
Holy
1 minute,
shit.
another fresh body.
So you're
will
just
come in.
flying through fresh. Wow.
Yes, exactly. So we'll do stuff like that.
God, that got to be exhausting.
They're horrible. They're literally the worst thing ever.
Jesus.
You get so mad because
Yeah, dude, I
you
bet.
get so pissed.
He's getting wailed on after a couple.
It's so fun. Yeah, and then so it just kind of depends on also what I'm doing outside of training. So like this fight, I really was training a lot with just MMA, so I wasn't doing a whole lot of like cross training, like lifting or anything. The last few fights I was like big running, like doing a shit ton of running, probably putting in like anywhere from 20 to 30 miles a week. But I do all my running, like I do zone training, so I keep my heart rate really low. So I go
You're doing like 10-minute miles, 9-minute miles.
Typically 10 to 12-minute miles, keeping my heart rate at like 130 to 140. So I'd go like run like 4, 6, like sometimes I go crazy and run like a 15-mile or something like that.
Damn.
I just do that. And then like if I'm lifting a lot, like I'll lift, and like depending on those days, it kind of determines on how much I'm training MMA or training anything else. But yeah, it's kind of it. It's also, it changes a lot when I travel. So when I travel, I have different gyms that have different systems and different coaches and everything. So like what I just explained to you is how here goes. But when I was up in California, it was like I had a couple of teammates who were we would do our own like sparring and pads in the morning, and then the gym was a little more not as like the MMA class wasn't as
it was more open to like classes.
It was more like general public stuff, but like the jiu-jitsu was really good. So I would like go there for jiu-jitsu all the time. I'd get hard rolls, and like I'd go to the other affiliated gyms in town, and like on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'd go to a different gym for hard rolls in the morning. And then like typically I'd spar with one of my teammates, Ashton. Shout out Ashton Stanley, he's the man. We would spar at like 6, 7 in the morning or something on random days, and like we'd hit pads or we'd do drilling on our own and stuff like that.
To get it in on your own time.
Right. And then like I would, depending on what days I'm working and stuff, I would hit pads with like a couple of my coaches in the morning or at night, or if I'm working, I would come off of work, get done by 7:30, get to the gym like 8, and like hit the bag for an hour, or like do pad work with one of my coaches for a little bit as long as I could. So it's very, very dynamic, like changes rapidly. I'm just trying to get what you can get in.
Let's assume there's another traveling nurse, amateur MMA fighter out there.
Yeah.
How do you find those gyms? Is it all referrals? You just straight off Instagram?
It's difficult.
Google MMA gyms near me?
All the above.
Really?
All the above. Yeah. It's
because I'm sure even within our city, I'm sure the variance is high.
Right. It does vary
place to place.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'd be tough to find.
Yeah, I would say if you can reach out to a gym, depending on how serious you are, if you can reach out to a gym beforehand and talk to them and tell them that you're coming, that'd be the best. I would also say,
what did you do?
I was just kind of freeballing it for a long time. And honestly, like I still kind of am. When I move into San Diego, there's a couple of gyms I have in mind that I'm going to hit up before and kind of pick their ear about it. The issue is it's a crapshoot, not only from my standpoint, but from their standpoint.
Yeah.
You got to think of how many guys that come into a gym and go, "Oh, I got fights, bro.
Right.
Let me just join the fight team here."
I'm ready.
Like, and they're complete dicks. They're horrible and like stuff like that. So you have to respect that. And it's also like a lot of these places, especially the big gyms that have like, really high talent. A lot of them have like systems where it's like, okay, you come into this gym, but you are going to start from zero, and you're going to have to prove that you're
going through our process.
You have to prove that you're this and that.
I respect that.
Yeah, which and like that's the biggest thing is like I always respect whatever it is. Like when I was in Denver, I was training at high altitude, which is one of the best gyms in the world. It's like where Corey Sandhagen trains, and like all these massive names in the UFC and like really, really high level pros.
Damn.
And when I showed up, I literally just walked in and was like, hey, like I'm an amateur fighter and like I'd like to join the fight team. And they're like,
get real, buddy. Get
okay.
fucking real.
They're like, what belt are you? I was like, well, I mean, I've been training for a while, but technically I'm still a white belt. And they're like,
About that.
okay. They're like, smell you later,
That's
buddy.
hilarious.
So
I wonder how many times they get that a day.
right, exactly. But then like, and so when I'm not a white belt.
And Aurora?
Yes. So I was working in Aurora.
Damn, this is a legit gym.
Yeah, it's fucking nice, dude.
This blue and black one?
Yeah, it's badass.
It is badass. Keep going, sorry.
Really great people. Really awesome gym. But so like, you go in the gym and then you start doing stuff and they see what you're doing. They're like,
maybe you do have it.
how long you been training?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. But then when I was in Denver, it was like, I just became obsessed with snowboarding. So I was really just spending most of my time snowboarding. The best day, I will say, if you're going to ask me what a perfect day is, which...
Yeah.
The best day ever is first chair at Breckenridge, snowboard for all day, get off, drive home, go spar, get home, smoke a joint.
Nice.
Yeah.
That does sound like an
It was literally like I got like a handful of those days where I'd go and snowboard all day, get off by like 2, go home, eat, and then go to the gym and like do jiu-jitsu or kickboxing or something. And it was like, man, life doesn't get any better than
god
this.
damn, in a place like that too.
Any better than this, dude.
Good God.
Sweet. But yeah, so it is difficult. It is difficult, especially when you're walking around with a white belt and like you're just some guy, but it is what it is. You just
Where's white belt on the hierarchy?
That's the first belt.
Oh, fuck
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, everywhere I go, when people see me, like, especially my gym here, when I wear the gi and I have my white belt, everyone's like, dude, stop. It's out of my control.
Right.
So our gym here, it has.
It is out of your control.
It's literally, nothing I can do about it. They have blue belt test days. So like 2 a year. And it's literally like,
oh shit.
It's like, all it is them trying to make you quit, to make you say, I don't want this white belt or this blue belt. And I've just heard horror stories about it, and I've just haven't been home for it, so I haven't gotten my.
Just hasn't worked out for you yet.
So, and I won't get, because I travel and like I go to these places, like I don't think it's really anyone else's place other than Mike Rogers to give me my blue belt.
Mad respect.
Because
I get that.
Like if I just showed up with a blue belt, like I'm sure he'd be like whatever, but it's like that's just weird.
Kind of kicking
That's
nuts.
just weird. Yeah, because I still rock my Voggy patch. Like I am St. Charles, and like I go. I don't know if they think of me this way, but I go representing them whenever I go.
That's cool. Fuck yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so like
I like that you've stuck with them since day one.
Yeah, dude.
That's dope.
They've been really sweet. Like they're truly like they're the best. And it's probably more of an hindrance on my career that I travel than
because you're not staying with them all the time.
Right. Yeah. So, but they're the best, man. And like truly, like it's so funny. Like I go out, I travel these places and I do really well, and like I'll sweep tournaments and like get like triple gold or some shit.
Damn.
And I'm like, my ego's just bigger than this table. I'm like, can't even fit it. And I go home.
Nuts to the floor.
I go home and dude, these guys molest me. These guys, and literally, dude, the first
they just put you on all fours and take you.
Dude, the first week of being home, and I came back like just now, like it was tough. It was really tough because I had a fight coming up. I was like 3 weeks out from the fight, and like prior to this, I'm like, dude, I'm firing on all cylinders. I'm moving, and
I'm
then
the fucking man right now.
I go and train at St. Charles, and they just fuck me up. And like, not just fuck me up, but like, I don't even have a chance.
Oh my God.
And I would leave practice.
You think they're doing that intentionally?
I definitely I think they all like to fuck with me for sure. But I'd literally leave practice and I'd be like, dude, what the fuck is going on?
Damn.
Like, truly.
Did I miss something? Like, what's going on here?
That's why dude, I work really fucking hard. Like,
you're like looking at the mirror, counting on your fingers.
Like, what's going on? But yeah, I think that's just part of That has to happen. I think if you're at a gym,
You need the humblings, yeah.
You do. And I wasn't like where I was training in California. Like I wasn't dominating every day. Like I had a lot of teammates who would whoop my ass all the time. Even like my main training partner, Ashton, young kid. He's 23, just turned 23. He's a 135er, so he's like walks around 150. This kid would wrestle fuck me every day.
No way.
Yeah, he wrestled in college. Like he's a dog, and like. Yeah, so like I knew I had good teammates and good competition, but like the guys here are just like on and just
Really?
Yeah, they're really
wow. How old's that gym?
St. Charles?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely sure. Honestly.
And you said the Rogers.
Rogers. Mike Rogers is the guy who runs the gym. Jake Roberts is our head MMA coach.
I got you.
Jimmy Donahue is like one of our main striking coaches.
And is their gym through and through? They're
Mike
like
Rogers through and through.
They opened it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike opened it up. He's a Hadarigo Vagi guy. Hadarigo Vagi is a big name in jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
I've never met him, but Vagi headquarters. Vagi is a team. It's similar like Gracie, like where like Gracie. Oh, you don't know? Okay.
No. The virgin
before
here.
I start on this, I'm gonna PM Greg.
Yeah. Take your time.
I won't give you the whole history lesson, but Gracies are the family that like revolutionized jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
When you watch like the original UFCs and you see the guy fighting in the gi, that's which one is that?
Spell that name for me.
Gracie, like Gracie.
That got me nowhere, Gracie. I just Googled Gracie.
Gracie. Just look up.
I figured I didn't know what I was doing.
Gracie
Gracie University, Global Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, so there's a million of them. So like the Gracie, what is it?
Oh, I'm following.
Elio
Gracie family. Here we go.
Elio is the father who had like a bunch of kids.
I was guessing. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Anyway.
Members, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Carlos, Collison, Clark, Caesar, Daniel, Helio, Crone, Kyra, Eamon, Route. Jesus, there's another 20.
Yeah. So the Gracies brought jiu-jitsu to the States. Once the UFC started, that blew up jiu-jitsu because I forget which one, but he competed in like the first UFCs and just beat every fighter. And like at that time, there were no weight classes.
With this new jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Oh.
So everyone, it was at the beginning of UFC, it was what martial arts the best. And it would be boxing versus kickboxing versus wrestling versus literally sumo motherfuckers.
Okay.
So the Grace, I'm so mad. I'm forgetting his name. That's really embarrassing. But yeah,
Commonly known as originating from Kanju Jiu-Jitsu, brought to Brazil by prize fighter Mitsuyo Maeda. And then it's I just lost the name.
Elio Gracie.
I think so.
Yeah, I think Elio was the father who then taught his kids. Why am I forgetting this man's name?
Yeah, it had to be Elio because he died in 2009.
Yeah. So anyway, typically gyms carry the name of their founder. Gracie is like the last name of their founder, and there's a million different Gracies. So Vagi is like a lineage of one of the best Gracies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty sweet. Like when you go to lineages on the black belts, you can go like direct line from like, typically it's like Elio, then to one of his sons.
That's what there's literally this.
Yeah. So you can do that. Wait, is that? Okay, that's actually the family tree. Yeah, so Hickson, I think. Hickson, where is he? Pedro.
Here's Helio.
Hickson and Hoyler and Hoyce. Those were the three in Hoynen. R's and Portuguese are H's, by the way.
I was like, what the fuck are you saying right now?
Yeah, so Vagi's a big name because he's a legend, and he's like a direct lineage from, I think, Hickson, who's like one of the best of the best.
Okay.
And then my head coach Mike is a black belt from Hadarigo Vagi.
Whoa.
Yeah. And what's interesting is like, so when I compete in tournaments, now I don't compete in gi anymore because I'm sandbagging when I do that. But when I would wear the gi, people would come up to me and go, "You're a Vagi guy?" Oh shit. I'd be like, Yeah.
Wow, it rings that true through
Yeah,
that. Wow.
yeah, in Denver and Mississippi and Louisiana and in multiple cities in Denver. Like people had come up to me and go, "You're a Vagi guy?"
So the term black belt, that's like as legit as it is. Like that's not because you hear, oh, he's a fucking black belt. Or what are you, a black belt? But that's like that they are legit if they're a black belt.
Yeah,
Really.
I mean, yes, and to me, I don't know. There's a lot of black belts.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of shocking.
It's just like anything else where there's good and bad, and like the spectrum of black.
Because if it's all subjective,
the spectrum of black belts more wide than the spectrum of jiu-jitsu players. Does that make sense? So like the difference between like white from anywhere from white to purple, that's a smaller gap than there are than the
worst black belt to the best.
Exactly. Because I've never personally met or trained with a black belt who it's like, what the hell? But I've trained with black belts who make black belts look like that. I've personally witnessed it.
Really?
Like, yeah.
That's like the whole thing with Brian Scalabrine, where he's like, I'm closer to LeBron than you were ever to me.
Right, exactly.
Like, don't talk to me, man.
Exactly.
And like Brian Scalabrine to LeBron, that's a fat gap, dude.
That's a huge gap. Exactly. So, but yeah, it's an interesting thing. So now it's like, but now I don't really compete in gi, and it's my black belt's not coming for probably another 20 years.
So that's what I didn't realize. I thought like, again, I'm an idiot with this stuff. I don't. I would have guessed it like, you could fly through. So many belts are there? 5, 6,
white, blue, purple, brown, black.
5. Like I would have guessed you could have flown through it in 2-3 years.
No.
I like how you mentioned there's only 2 days from your gym a year, and you're getting shit beat out of you.
Right. Yeah. So typically,
so it's like the next. Is there one green belt day a year? One.
There's no. So every place is a little different.
Let's just speak for your gym.
Yeah. So for St. Charles, they only have a blue belt day tests and then no other tests. Then it's just like
you're awarded it.
Whenever coach thinks that you deserve it and you put the time in and all that stuff. Also, you have to put the time in the gi. So if I'm doing MMA all the time, which is what mostly I do, I'm
but you got to be honoring the gi.
Yeah, because there's also 2 parts of the blue belt test. There's the technical test and then the test day. So the day before the test, you have the technical test where coach goes, do this move, do that move, do this move, do that move, and you check off all the boxes. It's not difficult. It's not physically difficult. You just got to know all these moves.
Yeah.
And then the next day is like when it's essentially all the higher belts just beating the shit out of you. So
to see if you can withstand the blue belt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then so our gym, from what I understand, at St. Charles is pretty notorious for taking a while to get your blue belt. Usually it's 2 years, like base minimum, before he says you can take the blue belt test. Not every gym's like that. I've seen people get blue belts, and I'm like,
really?
What?
Really?
What does that care? But some places are just like, lackadaisical, or like some places get blue belts because they want to keep people at the gym and like they want people to level up fast or whatever.
Yeah.
And some people, I mean, you'll get your blue belt in probably 3 years if you just go once, twice a week and show up every day. But yeah, so it's different. I'd rather be a really good blue belt or a really good white belt than be a bad blue belt.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. So it's just kind of.
Because that could be a huge ego inflator for some people in some gyms.
Right.
Or if they say they've got fucking 10 black belts at the gym, like
yes,
that.
Exactly. Like when you go somewhere that has good, like a gym, one of my affiliate gyms in San Francisco, Charles Gracie, Daly City. Shout out Clint, the head black belt there. He had about 6 black belts under him, which, first of all, Clint's a young guy. For him to have 6 black belts is like, that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
But to have 6
legit,
like unbelievable black belts, that's even crazier. And like, it's something, dude, I wish I could explain it, but like there is something about being in a room with 6 black belts. You're like, holy shit.
All 6 of the guys could kill me right now.
Yeah. And then so what that does is like, so that I would go to them probably once or twice a week to get hard rolls in. And like what that does is just immediately increase the skill of the rest of your gym. So like the purple brown belts are all this much higher than other purple and brown belts from other gyms that don't have as many, you know? So yeah, so I think it's probably a good like determiner, not of how many black belts, but just the skill of your black belt. Whoever's the black belt, and like however good those black belts are, is a good predictor of how good everyone else is going to be. You know, yeah.
So with your gym, is it just those 3 guys, the top 2 guys that have them?
I don't know if Jake has his black belt actually, because he doesn't do gi ever. He's an MMA fight. Okay. So Mike's our black belt. There's Adam Meredith. Shout out Adam. Adam's a dog. He has a podcast, and he was our announcer for Shamrock as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's a black. He trains out of there. Carlitos, who this is actually really funny. First day I ever rolled. Second day of jiu-jitsu ever. First time I ever like rolled with him, or open rolled at all. I have my gi on. I'm like, fucking like, what I don't even know what to do. And he goes, you, points me from far away. He's got this thick accent.
Oh my
he goes,
God.
come here. It's like, hey. And he was a brown belt at the time. And dude, I think he submitted me 15 times in 5 minutes. I think.
As soon as you're getting up, you're right back down.
Dude, it's crazy.
That's got to be so humbling.
It's the most humbling.
For someone to just manhandle you like
it's
that.
It's the most humbling.
Because at that point, you have no clue what the fuck is going on.
No. And the thing is, I'm sure I'll roll with him before I leave. It's equally as humbling now as it was
because he's also that much better.
So yeah, and now he's a black belt, and I mean I'll never forget this either. It was a crazy moment.
Probably more humbling now.
Yeah, honestly, him and I. So after we rolled, I said, "How long have you been doing jiu-jitsu?" And he said, "Jiu-jitsu is my life." I said, "That didn't even answer my question."
Thank you for nothing.
So yeah, dude, it's
since he could walk, probably.
Yeah, probably. I mean, yeah, he's an absolute animal.
God damn. So these training sessions, like towards the end of it, are these like football thud speed? Are you guys going like full match speed?
It depends. It depends on your teammates and stuff.
Like when this guy submitted you, I'm sure he was going.
He's probably
50%.
Yeah, probably less than that.
Yeah.
It depends on your teammates and stuff. Like my favorite part of jiu-jitsu is like when you get to a certain level of proficiency, you can go hard as shit, but really not be in danger of hurting each other. And like you can go very, very high pace, but you're like, if a submission's close, where you just tap quick, and like no one's gonna yank on anything. But like both people have to be at a decent level, and also there has to be, as much as there has to be a certain level of proficiency, there has to be a certain level of no ego, where like it's when you have a good relationship, a good training relationship with someone, it's much easier to go hard and like keep each other safe. Whereas like if I just show up to a gym and I go hard with someone, even though I might have no bad intentions, they may take that as who's this guy? You know?
Yeah.
Who's this white belt that just showed up?
Right.
And like, which I've seen, it's happened to me before. And like, I have a style, like a very scramble style. Like, it's not wild, but it's like I'm always just moving. And people have not liked it before. And they can't. It's like, well, if you don't like it, submit me.
Right.
Like,
yeah. This is who I am.
Yeah.
Right. Not changing it for you, buddy.
Right. Which, yeah. And then like, you also learn like if I go to a gym for the first time and like roll with a black belt, like I'm like, thank you for letting me be here. Like, thank you, sir. I'm like, before we start the roll, I say, thank you, sir. middle of the roll, I'll probably say thank you.
Exactly.
And then after the roll, I'll say
tapping,
thank you.
very much.
Like, thank you for your, like, because truly it's like, thank you for just giving me the opportunity.
Right.
They can tell you to fuck off and you can't really say anything. So like, I wouldn't go.
It'd be like the JV kid sacking the quarterback.
Right.
It's like,
exactly.
Like,
Like, dude,
come on, kid.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, come on now. Like, so typically once, like when I was in California, after a couple of months of like training at the gyms I trained at, especially jiu-jitsu, and building a relationship with the higher belts and them knowing that, oh, he's an MMA fighter. So not only does he want hard rounds, but we can, like, I know he wants me to not go easy on him. And I know they trust that they know that I'm not going hard because I'm a spaz or because I have no control. They know it's because like I'm training for a fight and I need this.
Right.
And like, I'm trying to get my like cardio up, or I'm trying to do a certain amount of things and stuff like that. So yeah, it's probably the most important, or it's like the most, the relationship between the training partners really matters, you know? Whereas like if
that makes perfect sense.
Pretty much any new guy that comes into, like if I was at St. Charles and a new white belt were to come in and like roll with me, I'd do my best to stay away from that guy, just because like I don't want to be the one to find out how spazzy he is.
Right.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not against anyone that starts. It's like you just have no idea how to manage the stress and the idea,
tempo, the strength, the speed, everything.
Exactly. So yeah.
I did at Mizzou one time. I think it was a Barstool thing. The Rough and Rowdy fights. I signed up for it.
Shut up.
Yeah, I did.
You did one?
No, dude. Me and another kid in the house signed up for it, and we did 2 things of training at like the Como, like, I don't know if it was a boxing gym or UFC gym. It was a gym. Yeah. And we did like these whole training dude, it was one of the hardest workouts I've ever had. We had to sign waivers and everything. We were like set up to do this, and then like. It was like we had a training session and then like another 2 weeks because you had to have it. Right. Like liability, like they're like, you guys have to know basics. You have to know how to protect yourself. You got to know how to throw a punch. We're not doing this shit. And then it was like after 2 weeks, got canceled. It got pulled the plug, and there was like it's not even being rescheduled. It just got yanked just like that. Yeah, I was really bummed about it. And then they redid it again like a year or two ago, or a year or two later.
Oh really?
Yeah. But I was really pumped to do it.
That's crazy. That's really crazy.
With all this, so like it's seeing what you're just talking about. It seems that having a training partner or like someone to spar with, someone to hit the bag with, I don't want to call it vital, but very important.
It's impossible not to have.
So what do you do and what can you do on your own time to improve on XYZ without having to go to the gym and without having to have me with you every time?
Yeah. Shadow boxing is probably like the number one thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool to hear.
Shadow boxing as much because you're just learning to be, you're getting a little better every time of just like figuring out where your foot placement is and like all this stuff and like extending full the way through and punches and stuff. There's that saying, practice makes perfect, which is complete bullshit. Because if you're practicing the wrong way, you're just going to keep drilling the wrong thing in your head.
That. Which is bullshit.
So that's why it's vital that you have a coach or a teammate that knows things. Because like the stuff that I work with Jake on, Jake will literally spend 1 hour with me being like, step your foot, like turn your hip. And like there have been training sessions where like we did not do anything other than me stepping my foot this way and turning my hip completely over into a kick.
Really?
Nothing else. And like that.
Just to drill that home.
Just because he's a perfectionist and like he's like, you're going to drill that home. Because by the end, like once it gets set into you, it's going to take no energy. Because now your kicks take energy. He's like, that's a problem that it takes energy. So you definitely need to know what you're doing, or at least have someone show you how to do the right things. Shadow boxing is great. Prior to starting jiu-jitsu, when I first started, dude, I was running crazy. Like I'm a runner in general.
Really?
Yeah. I can bust out some crazy miles, but I was in really, really good shape, and nothing can prepare you for grappling. and like using the little muscles in your forearms and like your adductors and your legs and your abductors and like using your abdominals in a certain way and like this crazy push pull, like weird, like
pushing and pulling at the same time while gripping and
while
holding
gripping
someone down with your feet.
Exactly. There's nothing that can train you to be in that shape. But running is one of the key, like in Muay Thai in Thailand, like they literally run a 5K before every training session, and they train 3 times a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 1 in the evening.
So running 9 miles a day on top.
Right. On top of the hour and a half training session that they're going to have. Right.
Jesus.
Right. So jumping ropes, another good one. I used to be a big jumper, but not so much anymore. But I wouldn't like lifting weights. I don't really lift weights anymore.
That's what I was when you said that how you were balancing your training earlier and you did a lot of running. I was curious about if you lifted a lot more because it doesn't seem because especially if you're trying to cut weight and like how do like what exactly we're talking about like gripping, pulling, pushing, squeezing.
Right.
Like how do you work that out? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's obviously lifting weights is always good, but I like since I finished football, I haven't gotten under a squat rack since college.
No need to.
No need to at all. I use kettlebells and I do weird movements. I just do push-ups all the time and sit-ups and like that's pretty much it. Mostly just for like aesthetic and then like truly
gotta look good. Yeah, for sure.
If you listen to any of the best wrestlers in college and stuff, like this guy David Taylor, I was just listening to something. He's just stacked.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't lift weights.
Really?
Strictly
just
just
a
wrestling.
brick shit house.
Just strictly just wrestling. Just
wow.
fighting for double underhooks. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Just
like,
man on man.
Yeah, just man on man, just straight brute, just trying to get double underhooks, tossing people. Yeah, I
mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's all the muscles, like, exactly what you're talking about. Like, go to the gym, it's mostly aesthetic work. Unless you're, unless you're like a PT that, like, knows, like, the full body movements and the agility movements and everything. Most people are going for strictly aesthetics.
Right, yeah.
And you're not going to get, like, that third forearm muscle that you probably don't work all the other times.
Exactly. That's what I've kind of realized, too, in training in general of all sports, like even in football, like I was in football specifically, like I was never fast, especially as a defensive back.
Relative.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
So, but what I realized, like I didn't really ever train sprinting. And that's probably why I never got got really faster because all my training was like backpedaling footwork stuff. And like, if you want to get faster, you gotta sprint.
Yeah.
And like, I never really did it.
Did you not do track?
Yeah, I did. But my hamstrings did not hold well. They did not hold well. I loved track. Track was truly a love of my life, but I pulled my left hamstring 17 times, tore it twice, pulled my right hamstring 6 times.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I had to get surgery I had to get PRP in high school where they take a plasma, or it's called plasma, rich something. I don't know. Anyway, they take fat and blood out of your body and mix it to make stem cells. And then they put it back into the hole that is the tear. I had to get that done in high school, I think sophomore year.
Is that when you're on crutches?
Yeah. No, that was probably from my meniscus. Yeah.
You're an injured man.
Those are only 2 injuries. I never in all
you
my.
You said you tore your hamstring fucking 17 times.
Well, no. Pulled it. Different.
That is crazy. I was on crutches one time, dude. That shit was so miserable.
Really? Yeah, not fun.
I had one injury. I had a high ankle sprain from lacrosse, and I wanted to kill myself, dude.
Sprains?
It lingered for so long.
Once you get one, it's like they never go away.
And like I was like cleared hot, and I was like I could sprint and everything, but like every now and then I felt like a clicking. It knocked me back like 50% immediately. Yeah. I was like, I don't want to fuck with that one again.
Screw that. No, I got really lucky. Like I tore my meniscus once in our senior year, and then I tore my hamstring, and I think it was going into junior year. It was because it was my sophomore year because I pulled it literally 15 times that spring in track.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, but I was like in track. I ran 1, 2, 400, 800, a mile. I was doing everything. So yeah.
That's crazy. You got so lucky with how everything you've done.
Yeah, dude.
And how many sports you played.
Crazy. It's crazy. I never needed. My shoulders are great. My hips are great. Never had. I can think of one time I likely had a concussion, but never had a concussion.
Oh, I dodged some tests for sure.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I had one. It was our sophomore. This is the only one that I can think of. Sophomore year. I forget who. We were playing Eureka, maybe. I don't know. Allegedly, I had a really big hit.
Allegedly.
I don't know. But
Oh, that's funny.
Just like my vision, you know, when like old school TVs would go like green.
Yeah,
You could see like the
outline of
outlines, but it was
everyone.
green. That was my vision.
Oh, that's freaky.
And then I remember the sensation of feeling my body stand up, but I wasn't sure how I stood up. And then like my vision came back, and Zach Tenor came up. He was like, "Good shit, Carrera." Smacked me in the head again. I was like,
You just stumble on back.
I sat down on the sideline. I was like, "Oh my gosh, my head hurts so bad." And then I was fine out of that.
Good Lord. Yeah. For sure concussion.
Yeah, for sure concussion. But other than that, I was good.
That was something I was your job and your hobby are so contradicting.
It's fun.
How do you, I don't want to say battle that. How do you feel about that?
It's just the dichotomy of life, dude.
Like how you said earlier, is like I probably shouldn't get in MMA. Now you're in it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you get hit in the head yet.
I mean, I said this jokingly to my brother and his fiance a long time ago, but it's like, I'm just really not interested in anything else other than saving your life or taking your life.
That's fair.
Really,
the two extremes.
Yeah, I'm just really not interested in anything else.
Well, again, know yourself.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's with like the job, it's worked out in my benefit. Like there have been many times I have patients who are losing their shit that I have to like physically hold down, and it works really well.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. I didn't think about that.
Many times have I had to use nursing and like stitch someone or do something or give rudimentary medical advice to cuts and all this stuff or infections.
Yep.
Now I don't have prescribing power, so I can't give out medicine. I've put IVs in teammates before and to hydrate them and stuff on bad weight cuts and like, yeah. So jack of all trades, dude.
Yep. There you go. I love it. Absolutely love it. So you're literally, technically you're an amateur, right?
Yeah.
Walk me through the progression of the tiers, and at what point are you asked to go professional? Yeah. Do you declare professional? Is that after 30 fights?
Yeah.
And is it immediately from amateur to professional getting paid?
Right.
Walk me through that.
So you declare to go professional.
Okay.
With boxing's been around for a long time. So boxing has a much more standardized.
Sure.
Like I think it's like you have to have at least 20 fights, and then you have the opportunity to turn pro. A lot of guys in boxing will have like 100+ amateur fights.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think Vasil Lomachenko. Do you know Lomachenko?
That name rings a bell.
He's one of the best boxers in the world. I think he has like 300 or something like amateur fights. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, a lot of these guys will have great, but they've also been boxing since they were 8 years old.
How when you found it.
Right.
Yeah.
So with MMA, because it's newer, it has less of a standardization. It may vary state to state, but once I turned pro in Missouri, I am recognized pro everywhere else. And I believe if I were a kickboxer and turned pro in kickboxing and then wanted to fight, then decided years later I want to try my hand at MMA, I can't be an amateur MMA fighter. I am a professional.
It carries. Like you're a professional fighter.
No matter what, you're a professional at all levels. I'm almost certain that is the case. With MMA, I just recently found this out that it's 5 fight minimum, and I think you have to have a winning record to have the chance to turn pro. Now, when you turn pro, you essentially you declare it to the state, and all it is you just pay money to the state, and then the state will decide if you turn professional or not. I don't know if I. The thing is, like, I barely know shit about it too. I pretty much just train and show up. Yeah, like I just show up.
Get told to be here and fight that guy.
So like the spectrum of pros is pretty drastic as well. Like
that's what I remember you saying that the other
like,
day.
So like you can turn pro pretty much whenever you would like. Does that mean it's a good idea? No. Because then you're fighting for money. Because then that record matters.
Right.
Then that record isn't going to go back.
Because if you're
to
shit
else.
and then you're 0-7.
Right. So like, but even like this past weekend when my teammate fought, he fought this guy who's very good, very, very good. He's 3-8 now as a pro, but he's still a motherfucker. Like,
damn.
And that guy, like my coach Jake was telling me about the guys he's fought, and like he hasn't fought a guy with like under like 10 wins. So it's like that guy's record looks like shit, but he's actually
fighting
like
really good dudes.
Right. Yes, exactly. So it's tough.
And is that just luck of the draw?
Kind of, sort of. You pick your fights, so you can always say no to fights. But it's like boxing does a good job with like building their fighters. So like typically you take easier fight. So even though you take an easier fight record-wise, you still have to win the fight. Winning fights is hard. Very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So just because you're going in there knowing that this guy's got 3 wins and 15 losses,
still kick the shit out of you.
Still can get caught and get your ass knocked out, or get caught and choked out. Like that's the fight game. But in boxing, typically they build up their fighters with like to get like 25 plus wins, and then they start going into like fights against guys who are on like that level, not level skill necessarily, but level record wise and stuff. And so it really just depends on your coaches and you and all that stuff. I think Jake, he's like manages most of the fighters like taking fights wise, and I think he does a good job of like knowing when to risk.
Because he would have the feel for the general board.
Yeah,
I got you.
So I think him and Mike and like the other coaches at our gym are good. They have a good what's the word? Like judgment on that.
Yeah, good read on it.
Where you can take a risk for a fight when it's worth it or when it's not. Because also like as an amateur, fuck it.
Right, keep going.
Just go. Just fight. I'll fight a guy who's 8-0. I don't give a shit.
Right.
Doesn't really matter. And maybe he's fought cans the whole time. You know? Like, I don't know. So like,
it's a great way of putting it. Yeah, you have no idea.
Yeah, like who knows who he's fought. So yeah, because at the end of the day, once I do turn pro, my amateur record doesn't mean anything, and then that pro-ship starts meaning stuff. And then that's when I start getting paid, and that's all that stuff. So
do you have a are you just waiting on your coaches and your trainer, or do you have like at fight 20?
It is.
Do you have like a threshold? Because like how you said, you like to have a goal for yourself.
Yeah. Do
you have one in mind already? You don't have to share, but do you have something like that?
I would. It's definitely, my coaches have a lot to say of that. I would say it also depends on where I'm physically located and just life in general has a big.
If you could be here full time with them, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. As opposed to like traveling around stuff. I would like to turn pro by the beginning. So next year will be 2025, maybe beginning of 2026. But that's in a perfect world. That's if I get 4 to 5 fights next year and I win all 4 to 5. Mm-hmm. You know, and that very much depends on how I look in those fights.
Right.
Because you know, like it's something as like. When I train, I know like one of the biggest things, like my record now is trash, 2-4, shit. The guy I lost to last fight was not very good. And he caught me. That's the thing. He caught me, did what he did. And like my losses have 3 of my 4 losses have come from mistakes that I know that I made. So like easy fixes. The other loss was a decision that I can't really control. And the guys I've lost to, not including the last guy, have all been good fighters. Really good fighters who are probably going to turn pro any minute.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, it just kind of depends on what happens with the next year or so, as long as I stay healthy. and everything. Like
stay consistent with what
stay,
you're doing.
stay consistent with training and all that. The thing is, like, when I lose, I'm not getting beat up. Like, I'm really not. Like,
I noticed that your last fight. It was honestly a clean
I
fight.
literally didn't get punched once.
Yeah.
I got choked out.
Yep.
That's it. And so that's what like gives me hope and stuff and like delusion.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is like I know what I'm capable of in the gym, and like I do stuff in the gym and stuff, and now it's just about putting it together and making it happen when I'm under the lights, which is all of it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's something I've never like how we were talking about earlier. Like growing up, I would always my grandpa, huge MMA guy. I remember watching all those fights. I know there's one specifically I remember where gosh, this is probably 2000 and I was in middle school. He was alive. It's probably like 2007, 2008. Who was a well-known black fighter?
Rashad Evans. Rampage Jackson.
Maybe it was him. Like first 10 seconds of the fight, walked in, kicked the guy in the face, and knocked him out.
Was it kick the guy in the face?
Like bottom of his foot.
Oh, Anderson Silva?
Yeah, dude. I watched that and I
that?
was like, holy fuck, what is this?
Yeah.
And I've never gotten into it. Where was I taking this? Hi. What the fuck was I taking this? I was watching my grandpa. Oh my god, I just lost my train of thought. That is so frustrating.
That was a wild. That kick is like,
dude, it was nuts. It was so crazy.
Yeah.
What were you just talking about? Going pro.
Going pro. I don't even remember.
It's gonna drive me fucking nuts.
You got me. Tito's too cute.
I don't know. I've never been an MMA guy, but like I can appreciate all of it. That drives me fucking crazy. Anyways. Whatever. With what you're just talking about, though, I was curious. It's not my last question. It was one of the last questions I had. How do you handle wins and losses? And what do you learn? Like you're getting to it. Like, what do you learn from these wins and losses?
Yeah, I think growing up, I was historically a winner. You can ask. I'm sure you've talked about.
Yeah,
this
no,
with Matt,
I know you've been a part of
Matt and all them, and like we won everything.
Everything.
And CBC, we won
everything.
everything.
Yep.
Then I go to college, and I realize people don't win everything.
Yeah. You're not going 4 for 4 here.
Yeah. And winning really is like it's kind of like a mentality, and losing is a mentality. And in college, there were times where like people were just okay with losing, and it was interesting.
That's not
really difficult.
I don't fuck with
It was really difficult to deal with. But when you're in college and you're a Division I athlete, and like they're on scholarship too, and like they're grown men, it's like what can you do? And then my senior year, we were abysmal. We went 1-11, 1-12.
Whoa, your senior year?
My senior year. I was the captain of the team, dog. Man. Captain of the team.
You can shoot him off.
And I was, no, he's fine. And I was, I was a shitbag as well in college. And like, I probably had bought into the losing mentality because it was really difficult at Western because Western, there were so many bad things going on at Western between coaching, administration, I mean everything. Yeah, really everything that was bad. Yeah, top down, the whole place was just terrible. And I probably bought into that a little bit too much. But like what I'm getting at is I used to put a lot of weight on the winning and losing, and that's really not probably in the past year or so, and I'm sure some people will hear this and be like, yeah, you fucking loser, you something like that. But I was listening to this guy, his name's Kyle Dake.
I just remember my train of thought. Yeah, keep going, please. I'm going to write it down.
Kyle Dake is a Olympic wrestler who beat Jordan Burroughs. If you know who Jordan Burroughs is, this past Olympic trials, for him to go to the Olympics, not Jordan Burroughs. Jordan Burroughs is like, I think he won gold medal past 2 or 3 Olympics in a row. Considered arguably the best wrestler of all time, one of the most dominant. Anyway, Kyle Dake was talking about winning and losing, and he said, what what is losing? It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't change who I am. It doesn't change the people around me and if they love me or think I'm more valuable or not.
Right after your last fight, I was still pumped to see you.
Right,
I was still pumped to be there.
That's exactly. And I've in the past few years, I've really gotten into philosophy and like Stoic philosophy specifically. I've read a lot of like Epictetus,
Aurelius.
Aurelius the GOAT. Seneca is actually the best.
That's what I've been hearing.
Seneca is the best. Read Letters to a Stoic. Freaking awesome. That and Epictetus's discourses and selected writings. Penguin published by the Penguin Books or whatever.
Yep.
Then Cicero, Dionysus.
Damn, you're in this.
Oh no, yeah. I'm deep into the philosophy stuff.
I've got meditations on my desk upstairs. I just started it.
Yeah. So I've really gotten into it, and I think
Good
also,
for you.
Yeah. Also being a Christian and like really, especially the last few years of like really becoming a better Christian, a true like follower of Jesus, and like anyway, all this stuff is like of being not caring about what happens.
You control what you can control.
Yes, exactly. Controlling what you control. Right. That's funny. The day of my fight, this last fight, I'm reading. It's like a daily read thing. It's like a daily it's called Daily Stoic, and it's just like every day it has like a different passage.
From what's his face?
Ryan Holiday.
Yes.
Yeah. So I got it in the day. This is really funny. It said the passage of the day was from, I think it was from Epictetus or Seneca. It said, "Don't wish that things happen that the way you wish that they happen the way they're supposed to happen." That was the day of my fight.
Wow.
Like, God.
That's some shit to slap you in the face with.
Right? So, so like winning and losing now, it's really now, especially after, winning so much and then losing so much. Now it's like, I don't do any of this for the wins and losses. Like the winning and the losing is kind of out of my control. Like I just work my ass off
Comes
and
with the game,
do everything in my control. And that's what matters. And like, as long as I'm healthy and I'm good, like I know it doesn't change anything about my coaches, how they see me, my teammates, how they see me, and like how anyone sees me. Like it'll probably, like there will be people who call me a loser or whatever, but like I'm also a big fan. I'm sure you know the man in the arena, whatever. Like I'm a big believer in that. Like I'm first, just to step into the ring is crazy.
Yeah,
like,
dead ass, dude.
Just to do that is crazy.
It's
and like,
out of it. It's batshit crazy, bro.
And to do it with no health insurance is crazy. Like
I love it. I absolutely love it.
So like it's just like I really do this stuff not for like I truly have no like desire to be like a superstar at all. Like not at all. Like doing this and for you to put this out, this is like very out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, I bet, dude. It's tough to talk about yourself. It's tough. I get it.
So like, I just like doing stuff because it's like a challenge to me. Like I'm such a, pardon my French, but a pussy bitch on the inside that like I just do things to like prove to myself that I'm not a pussy bitch, even though I'll never not think I'm a pussy bitch.
Yeah,
like, I'll never not think like I'm adequate or anything like that. Like I'll always be chasing that. But like every time I do it, it's a little more. It's a little more like of a like reminder of like, dude, you can do something. You can do something. Which eventually, like hopefully I keep stacking up by the end of my life. Like I just look at back and go, I might have sucked ass on my record, but shit, man.
But I fucking did it.
You can never say I turned down a fight. You can never say that. You can never say I ducked or anything. I was always down for a dance and like
always down for a dance. I like that.
Yeah, man.
I fuck with that. Respect, man.
Yeah. So that's really think like the Stoic philosophy and like being a Christian and all that really has helped out a lot. Really killing your ego as much as you can, because you have to. I think you have to. I think anyone in general, whether it's martial arts or anything else, the ego really, really holds you back, and in more ways than you can even really realize. Whether that's preventing you from having a more open and honest relationship with your girlfriend, or whether it's open and honest relationship with your family members, or being better at your job or whatever.
Ego always gets in the way.
Yeah,
it dismantles everything.
Yeah, it really does. It really does.
That's one of my favorite things about this, is that I have to put the ego aside, and I have to go in these conversations assuming I know nothing.
Yeah,
because I'm looking, like, you may not think it, but I'm looking at you and the expert in this.
Yeah,
and like I can tell you that I read a fucking Wikipedia page before this. I didn't, but then I'm like, I have these thoughts in my head. It's like, oh, I know about this, or I don't know shit.
Yeah,
and it helps me a lot with that, because then you can assume that you know nothing and you can learn everything from it.
Right,
which helps out in everything. Every conversation I go into, it's monumental.
That's good, dude. You do have that. I can say that for like being friends with you for a while, and like every time we hang out, like you do have that mindset. And
thank you.
I appreciate it, because I also try to adopt that mindset. And like, it's funny, like when you have conversations with people, not just obviously here, but like in general, and like when I travel and meet people, there are people who are just interested in talking at you.
At you, yes, like, at you, not with you, at you.
And you're like, I could literally leave and you won't know like what's going on.
Yep.
Like, I'm genuinely interested in the exchange of ideas. Like, I want nothing else but that. And like, but there are people who just are the worst.
Yes, the worst. I know, dude. Like, you're at an airport bar, they have a conversation with you, you leave, they pick up that conversation with the person next to them. It's like, God damn, man.
It's crazy, dude.
I just saw you do that. I don't want to talk to you.
It's absolutely nuts. It is very refreshing to see you, and I think I'm blessed to have like you and many friends in my life who are genuinely like the coolest motherfuckers in the world,
We've got some good friends, that's for sure.
Some good guys.
You had hella support that last fight. That was awesome to see. That was really cool to see.
That's great. That's what sucks about it.
Fuck, man. Yeah, sorry.
I wish you guys could just get a win.
Yeah, next time just do a fucking spinning backhand, knock the guy's jaw off.
And what's so funny, I've been working on a spinning backhand.
Hell yeah.
For the past 3 months, and I'm like, next fight, I'm throwing it. I'm throwing it the first minute of the fight.
Just see if it lands. If it lands,
it lands, it lands.
If not, you're just fighting again.
Exactly.
That's awesome. The thought that I remembered, watching with my grandpa. I've never been an MMA guy, but obviously, I'm sure a lot of people listen to Rogan a lot.
Yeah,
it's Rogan, and it's how he breaks down MMA. Like it's hard for me to listen to, but it's so cool to listen to someone that's so passionate and such an expert at something like that, and to hear him break it down, and how he always describes it as a chess match.
Yeah.
And like how it was really cool to hear you talk about that earlier. Yeah. Like you were talking about these moves. I was like, I had no fucking clue.
Right.
But like how you're like, you do this, you work down, then you work your way back up. I'm like, holy shit, he's literally breaking down these exact moves. And it is that, because like as much as it is a physical thing, like everything I've heard, the mental thing is like you have to know what's coming next. You have to know how to counter it, and what you're not the next step, but the next 3 steps. And once you're up, where you're going with that. If you're back on the ground, how are we getting out of this? Yeah. I thought it's always so, and like I've had the thought of like maybe I'll get into it for that exact reason. How like especially rolling in jiu-jitsu, it's not injury free, but how you were talking about how we both know our speeds and our limits, it's basically injury free.
Right.
And like you see 70-year-olds still rolling in there, and they're cut as fuck, dude. It's like grandpas that still ski and shit like that.
Animals.
Yeah, it's the same exact thing. I'm like, God damn, if they're doing this.
Bro, it's nuts. There's this man at my gym. His name is Major.
Oh, of course it is.
Shout out Major. Major is probably late 60s. I've seen this man be on an oxygen tank. And
old man
will sit on his oxygen. Round will start. He'll take his oxygen off, go roll. After the round's over, come back, put his oxygen back on, sit out the next round,
Jesus
and then just re-oxygenate, and then go back.
It's almost like a cheat code, dude. You're just getting fresh air.
I know. It's crazy. Like there are guys like you really can, like God willing that you're lucky enough not to have major injuries.
Right.
You could roll into your freaking 70s, 80s, dude, as long as you have just good training partners and you manage to get lucky enough to not have injuries. But yeah, no, it's really the coolest chess match with your body that you can do.
Which is such a cool way of putting it, because that's exactly, and like how football's chess. It's
right, exactly.
Like how you were saying, you're just now learning the game. That's why Brady and Manning were so good, because they knew how to play chess on the field.
Right.
And like if you going into like your 60s, 70s, 80s, fucking whatever, 50s. Let alone the strength and endurance conditioning that comes with it, strength training and endurance training that comes with it.
Yeah.
Like the legit, how we were talking about with wrestling, like knowing how to fall.
Yeah.
I'm sure that like for those kind of guys, it could probably save their hips, save their lives at some point in
100%.
time.
When I started snowboarding,
Yes, there you go,
Yeah.
bingo.
when I started snowboarding, Davis took me, and Davis can tell you about how fucking horrible I was. It took me an hour and a half
Just learn how to
to get
up.
down one green.
Oh yeah, I believe it did.
One green.
I believe it.
And I ate shit so many times, but truly, had I not taken jujitsu and learned how to fall, dude, I think I probably would have broken my arm. Like,
I had one of my best friends, Charlie. We did one of those ski trips in Mizzou.
Yeah.
He knew how to ski. He's like, fuck yeah, I'm going to snowboard. At the bottom, like one of his first runs, got to get back on the lift, fell down, and just like how he was going, shattered his wrist.
oh, dude, yeah, it's bad.
First day of the trip. And then he went back out there with a cast on.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I paid for this. I'm fucking doing it.
You're going to get that
Yeah.
time. You're
Hey,
gonna
I
that
get it,
time.
dude. I get it.
Yeah, dude, it's really a skill to fall. And it's so funny, like,
It's funny
especially-
watching some people fall.
Yeah, it
it's
is
fucked
funny.
up as that is to say. It's really
It's
funny. Like, you
really
clearly never
You're
learned how to
real
fall.
big. Dude, it's so funny. The first time Davis and I went, Davis took me, we went to Keystone. And have you ever been to Keystone?
Not yet.
So they have like their bunny hills at the top of the mountain, and then they have like the rest of the mountain.
Wow, that's scary.
Yeah, I know.
Figure it up at the top and then
that
work your
nuts?
way down?
Isn't that crazy?
That's a wild.
So
Okay.
Davis takes me up there, takes me down the bunny hills a few times, and like I'm like, I'm doing my first time, not doing well, but we did it probably 7-8 times. And after we did that, I was like, Davis, we can get off the mountain
Here we
right
go,
now. And
yeah.
I just had the best time of my life. He's like, dude, the rest of the mountain. Like,
You got to get down there one way or the other.
It's like, shit. So anyway, when we were doing the bunny
What a
hills,
crazy way to start. Your first time going, too.
Yeah. When we were doing the bunny hills, there was this very rotund lady on a snowboard who I witnessed just eat shit. And when she would eat it, she'd be like a turtle on her back, not being able to get up. And Davis and I were talking about it when we had gotten down the mountain. I was like, bro, like I'm a good athlete, and like that's the only reason I managed to make it down the mountain. What did that lady do? What did that lady do?
Let alone getting up, she probably fell a couple more times, dude.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. So yeah, the falling, you got to be good at falling, and like it's funny, especially with training in MMA. There's so many things that you just think you're good at. Like I used to be a dumbass and like just a hothead in college. And a football team, you always get into fights, and especially at bar fights.
Yep.
And I used to think I knew how to fight. And then the minute I started training, I was like, oh, I have no idea.
Idiot.
I
Yeah.
have no idea how to throw punches.
You're coming over the top and shit.
Dude. Just crazy. Oh, man.
That's awesome. Got to be good at falling. Got to be good at failing.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
We're at 220.
Fuck yeah. 220.
You good?
Yeah, dude. You good?
Thanks for coming in here. This is awesome.
Yes, man.
I really appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Love you,
for having
brother.
me. Love you, dog.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.